ultimate throne is never given to a survivor. It is claimed by the one who is crowned by fire.
Every single second counts, will you make it through? It's an uphill battle, and your knees are bruised. When the clock is ticking down, let your powers burn. Don't be afraid of a little fire, let it boom it. You were born and raised a fighter, let it boom it. Now the world's watching, show them what you do. What you were really here for, what you come to prove, and get them singing. And get them singing. And get them singing. And get them singing.
This summer, the heat will rise with every game, every clash, and every choice. And somewhere in that heat, one team out of 28 will break through and stand tall as champions of Fire Max Asia Invitational 2026 Summer. 28 total teams, all from India, Bangladesh, Nepal, Pakistan, Indonesia, Malaysia, and Thailand. Teams will come in hot and will only have one purpose: to be crowned by fire. South Asia play-ins starts from June 12th to June 14th. 18 teams will kick off the South Asia play-ins and will be divided into 3 groups of 6 each. 8 teams from India, 5 teams from Bangladesh, 3 teams from Pakistan, and 2 teams from Nepal. In a round-robin format, each group will play against the others over 3 days. At the end of day 3, only the top 8 teams out of 18 will move forward. For the remaining 10 teams, the journey ends. Main event starts from June 18th to June 20th. The 8 qualified teams from South Asia play-ins will then be challenged by the 10 invited teams. The top Indian team from Fire Max Asia Invitational 2026 Spring. 1 team each from Bangladesh, Nepal, and Pakistan. Joining the fray will be teams from across the ocean. 2 teams from Indonesia, 2 teams from Malaysia, and 2 teams from Thailand. Once again, 18 teams are split into 3 groups of 6, and in a round-robin stage that will last for 3 days, only 12 of the finest teams in all of Asia will move on to the last challenge. Grand Finals on 21st June. 1 day, 1 opportunity, no second chances. The Grand Finals will be played in Champion Rush format. To claim the title of champions, a team must first reach 90 points to activate Champion Rush, and then secure a booyah. At stake is not just the crown, but also the biggest share of the $50,000 prize pool. When the final moment arrives and the heat reaches its peak, only one team will rise above the rest, and only one team will be remembered as crowned by fire.
Let's see आगे बढ़ के क्या ये सामने कुछ और फ्रैग्स एकत्रित कर पाएंगे। एनजे ओहायो को डाउन किया गया है यहाँ पे। ऑक्टोबॉस के कुणाल जीवित है। बैट गॉड सामने की तरफ फुवारा को भी डाउन कर दिया गया है। टीम अकीन के पास एडवांटेज था, बट क्या बैट गॉड यहाँ पे इस पोजीशन से कम बैक कर पाएंगे? क्या यहाँ पे क्लच कर पाएंगे? फ्रीज का भी इस्तेमाल किया जा रहा है। मैट गॉड को शॉट लगाने की पूरी कोशिश, कुणाल भी डिस्टेंस से शॉट लगाना चाहते हैं, लेकिन फिलहाल के लिए मैट गॉड यहाँ पे अकेले खिलाड़ी जूझते हुए और फिक्स पकड़ेंगे डाउन। दूसरे छोर पे चलिए टीम के खिलाड़ियों का रिवाइवल तो हो चुका है, बट मानना पड़ेगा मैड गॉड को। मैड गॉड क्लियरली प्लेइंग लाइक अ मैड गॉड इन द मोमेंट।
अभी के लिए ऑटोबॉट बनाम आईक्यू टोटल गेमिंग, एक तरफ है भारत के पायोनियर्स आईक्यू टोटल गेमिंग, तो दूसरी तरफ है द न्यू कमर्स बट द राइजिंग स्टार्स, द अमेजिंग प्लेयर्स ऑफ ऑटोबॉट esports, जिन्होंने दर्शाया कि प्रेशर में वो क्या कुछ कर सकते हैं। बट अभी के लिए यहाँ पे टीम आकी को फिनिश करेंगे आईक्यू टोटल गेमिंग। कमाल का प्ले, इंस्टेंट रिएक्शन देखने को मिला एंड ये फिनिशर मूव आएगा इन खिलाड़ियों की तरफ से। मुसीबत का पहाड़ आगे बढ़ता हुआ ये तूफान ऑटोबॉट esports मैड गॉड, एक मैड रश यहाँ पे होता हुआ। इस टाइम नेड भी टॉस करके नीचे फेंकेंगे, अंदर जरूर गया। इस वक्त देखिए हीलिंग यूएवीज का इस्तेमाल किया जा रहा है, ब्लू वॉल यूएवी का इस्तेमाल किया जा रहा है। उन ब्लू वॉल्स को वो तोड़ना नहीं चाहते, लेकिन कैसे नहीं टूटेगी। रिपटाइड रिदम भी आएगा, बेल्टर्स भी आएंगे, इस वक्त हमला भी किया जाएगा। मैड गॉड बेक ऑफ, ये खिलाड़ी आगे बढ़ता जा रहा है।
आखिरी के सर्कल की तरफ हम बढ़ते हुए, ऑटोबॉट्स अपने 80 के आंकड़े की तरफ बढ़ते हुए 5 अंक दूर है वो 80 के आंकड़े से, 5 अंक दूर है एक भारतीय टीम अपने चैंपियन रश कंडीशन को एक्टिवेट करने से। बट फिलहाल के लिए बची कुची कसर टीम हिंद यहाँ पे पूरी करती हुई नजर आई, बट अब टीम हिंद को बाहर निकलना पड़ेगा। बाहर की तरफ से ऑटोबॉट्स के खिलाड़ी आते हुए, और अभी भी टीम ऑटोबॉट्स सेफ गार्ड कर रहे हैं अपने आप को, टीम हिंद सेफ गार्ड कर रहे हैं अपने आप को। पर अभी के लिए तो देखिए टीम देवा यूनाइटेड होरस के ऊपर भी शॉट्स लगाए, टीम गॉडलाइक भी धीरे धीरे करके इस तरफ आती हुई वुडू को डाउन कर दिया है, सैवेज भी डाउन। स्टॉप्स कहाँ पे है? स्टॉप्स की जरूरत थी यहाँ पे, बट अब स्टॉप्स मुझे लगता है कि रिवाइवल के लिए भागेंगे, बट सैडली भाग नहीं पाए। हो रहा ई-स्पोर्ट्स का खात्मा होता हुआ, लेकिन आईक्यू टोटल गेमिंग बैक इन एक्शन, सामने की तरफ से प्लेयर्स को डाउन करते हुए नजर आ रहे हैं। बट यहाँ पे डिलीट को डाउन कर दिया गया है टीम गॉडलाइक इट इज, और शैंकी के द्वारा मुझे लगता है कि डिलीट के रिवाइवल की प्रक्रिया स्टार्ट हो तो रही थी, लेकिन यहाँ पे शैंकी को मुश्किलों में डाल दिया गया है। चलिए डिलीट का रिवाइवल तो हो चुका है, माफिया के द्वारा वो रिवाइवल हुआ। गॉडलाइक भी काफी अच्छी तरीके से फाइट को एग्जीक्यूट कर रही है। ऑटोबॉट्स आई डोंट नो कितने अंक निकाले हैं अभी, बट जिस तरीके से मेरा एस्टिमेशन है, मुझे लगता है 80 का आंकड़ा शायद वो टच कर चुके हैं। लेकिन एनएक्सटी अब ये फंस चुके हैं। आई भी रिपटाइड रिदम का प्रयोग किया गया, एनएक्सटी के खिलाड़ी अब ओपन में आ चुके हैं। केडी वॉट को डाउन कर दिया है, दिस इज द राइट मोमेंट, ये सही मौका है टीम ऑटोबॉट्स के लिए। एश को डाउन कर दिया गया है, वाइल्ड फॉक्स आखिरी खिलाड़ी अभी के लिए ग्लू वॉल के पीछे है। बट क्या अब टीम ऑटोबॉट्स आगे बढ़ के टीम हिंद को एलिमिनेट कर पाएगी? साहिल जाट डाउन है, हिंद के शोटो नजर आते हुए, और अब ये ऑटोबॉट्स के प्लेयर्स इस मुकाबले की बुया की तरफ बढ़ते हुए। इस समय पे सबसे ज्यादा स्ट्रॉन्ग कंटेंडर है बुया के शोटो, खिड़की से अंदर आए, शोटो का वेलकम कर दिया गया है। मैड गॉड को डाउन किया गया, लेकिन अभी मैड गॉड को डाउन करने वाले वाइल्ड फॉक्स को भी डाउन कर दिया जाएगा। एक आखिरी खिलाड़ी टीम हिंद के खेमे से, और ऑटोबॉट्स का बुया आता हुआ इस मुकाबले में भी।
ये खिलाड़ी निकला है अगले कॉइन मशीन एंड वेंडिंग मशीन पे टीममेट्स को बचाने के लिए। टीम आईक्यू टोटल गेमिंग सामने होने वाली टीम स्ट्रॉ हेड्स रिसेंटली यहाँ पे चैंपियन बनी अपने डोमेस्टिक स्ट्रक्चर के अंदर, डोमेस्टिक टूर्नामेंट के अंदर। और अगर हम बात करें इस समय टीम आईक्यू टोटल गेमिंग, बिल्कुल उनके सामने होने वाली है। पीछे से जाएंगे, हैशटैग हमला करेंगे, हैशटैग आगे जा चुके, 2 एलिमिनेशन झोली में होने वाले हैं। हैशटैग को नॉक कराए, बचाना पड़ेगा टीममेट्स को, यूनाइट होकर खेलना पड़ेगा। पर क्या स्ट्रॉ हेड्स अपना एलिमिनेशन बचा पाएंगे? जी नहीं, यहाँ पे 2 खिलाड़ी को नॉक कराए, माफिया कमाल की स्नाइपिंग करते हुए 2 खिलाड़ियों को नॉक करके निकाला है। इस समय नील एंड वू की हेल्थ कम, नील आखिरी सर्वाइवर, वो यहां से निकलना चाहते थे, नील की हेल्थ कम, और इसी के साथ क्या टीम स्ट्रॉ हेड्स एलिमिनेट हो जाएगी। बड़ा प्रश्न चिन्ह होने वाला है। यहां पर रिवाइवल दिया गया, थीवा के साथ अपने टीममेट को बचाने की कोशिश, शॉट को बचा लिया गया है, पीछा करते हुए डिलीट आगे जा रहे हैं। नील पे हमला होने वाला है, नील को स्पॉट करा और पूरी स्ट्रॉ हेड्स को एलिमिनेट करा है। टीम आईक्यू टोटल गेमिंग बैक इन फॉर्म। आखिरी टीम, आखिरी बाधा टीम हिंद के सामने है। टीम हिंद इंडिया की इकलौती टीम इस समय जो सर्वाइव कर रही है, इकलौती टीम जो टकरा सकती है, एक्सपेंड के इस कहर को रोक सकती है। बाकी टीम्स के लिए, केवल अपने लिए नहीं, सभी के लिए राहत की सांस लेकर सकते हैं, पर एक्सपेंड को रोकना इस समय नामुमकिन है। एक्सपेंड समझ लीजिए एक बवंडर की तरह आगे आ रही है। देखने वाली बात है किस तरीके से एक्सपेंड आगे प्ले करती है। इसे कहते हैं ताकत, बल, शक्ति, पराक्रम, जोर, क्षमता, सामर्थ्य, रुतबा, रौब, खौफ, दबदबा, हुकूमत, साम्राज्य, अधिपत्य, प्रभुत्व, वर्चस्व और अखंड साम्राज्य। ये गन फाइट लेना एक बड़ी भूल हो सकती है एक्सपेंड से। एक्सपेंड आगे जा चुकी है, हिंद पे हमला करते हुए, हिंद के खिलाड़ी नॉक होते हुए, वहां सायन को नॉक करा जाएगा। शोटो यहाँ पे आगे बढ़ेंगे, अभी भी एक्सपेंड के पास मैन एडवांटेज हो सकता है। इकलौते खिलाड़ी शोटो आगे बढ़ रहे हैं, जोन का डैमेज, क्या शोटो यहाँ से क्लच पुल करेंगे? बड़ा प्रश्न चिन्ह, और जी हाँ, शोटो यहाँ से क्लच पुल कर देंगे। मिड लेवल पे आपको नजर आ रही है टीम ऑटोबॉट्स इस कंपाउंड के अंदर। एरिया बहुत अच्छा है, एक्सपैंड को रोक सकती है, एक्सपैंड को रोकना पड़ेगा, उनके कहर को रोकना पड़ेगा। इस बार एक्सपैंड पे हमला भी करा जा रहा है, रेवेनेंट एक्सपार्क ने भी हाथ खोल दिया। टीम एक्सपैंड एक एक करके खिलाड़ी नॉक करवाते हुए, उनके खिलाड़ी और ज्यादा नॉक होते हुए, आफे का आखिरी खिलाड़ी जोन में हील बैटल करना इकलौता है उनके पास।
हेलो नमस्कार सत श्री अकाल आदाब, कैसे हैं आप लोग। टियर लिस्ट टियर रेटिंग लेके आ चुके हैं आपके साथ, और आज हमारे साथ टियर रेटिंग करने के लिए 4 अमेजिंग एथलीट जुड़े हुए हैं। चलिए शुरू करते हैं टियर रेटिंग की। सबसे पहली टीम गाइस ऑटोबॉट्स।
पिछली बार काफी अच्छा खेले थे, वैसे हीरोइक पे रख सकते हैं इनको।
अब हमारे सामने आ चुकी है टीम गॉडलाइक।
ग्रैंड मास्टर पे रख दो।
हाँ, मेरे हिसाब से भी ग्रैंड मास्टर पे भी।
नोबिता यहाँ पे स्माइल दे रहे हैं कि आप कहीं पे भी रख ले, लेकिन मेरे लिए तो गॉडलाइक दिल में रहेगी, दिल से गॉडलाइक। और अब अगली टीम है स्ट्रॉ हैट्स।
स्ट्रॉ हैट्स को डायमंड पे रख सकते हैं, मारते तो अच्छा मारते हैं लोग।
इनका बंदा वेडिंग पे कैंप करके बैठा था भाई, इनको प्लेटिनम पे रखो।
फाल्कन्स को कहाँ रखा जाए, चारों खिलाड़ियों से पूछूंगा मैं।
ग्रैंड मास्टर से ऊपर अगर होती तो अगर रख देते इसको तो।
चैंपियंस पे रख दो, चैंपियंस पे कुछ एक बनाओ उस पे।
हाँ, एक चैंपियन का बना दो।
बिगेट्रॉन बाय वाइटैलिटी, इन्हें कहाँ रखा जाए।
ग्रैंड मास्टर पे रख दो।
ये भी भाई है भाई, चैंपियन के भाई है, रख दो ग्रैंड मास्टर।
आईक्यू टोटल गेमिंग कहाँ रखना चाहेंगे।
ग्रैंड मास्टर यार वो
ग्रैंड मास्टर पे रख दो।
और अब टीम हिंद, हमारे तेज FFMIC 2026 स्प्रिंग के चैंपियन
है, और इंडियन सर्वर में तो इनका कंपटीशन कोई दिख नहीं रहा है।
ग्रैंड मास्टर डालो इनको, क्योंकि अभी स्क्रिम्स भी चल रही थी जो बाहर की, उसमें भी काफी अच्छा खेल रहे थे।
फ्री फायर मैक्स एशिया इन्विटेशनल 2026 समर्स में आप सभी का स्वागत है। नया सीजन आ चुका है और नई कहानियां तैयार है, और हम लेकर के आए हैं बिहाइंड द ग्लू वॉल का एक नया एपिसोड। पिछले सीजन हमने देखा FFMAI के अंदर काफी कमाल का प्ले नजर आया इंडियन टीम्स का, एग्रेशन से लेकर के कमाल का डिसिप्लिन, और साथ में जीत की वो कमाल की भूख। पर इस सीजन की शुरुआत करने के लिए, इस एपिसोड की शुरुआत करने के लिए और इन सभी बातों को और गहराई से डिस्कस करने के लिए मेरे साथ जुड़ चुके हैं मेरे को-होस्ट रॉकी। रॉकी, कैसे हैं आप?
I'm doing great, smart, eligible bachelor as always, और काफी एक्साइटेड हूँ क्योंकि इस बार इस फ्री फायर मैक्स एशिया इन्विटेशनल के समर एडिशन में कहीं ना कहीं जो ये नई टीमें तड़का डालने के लिए आ रही हैं, इसको देखने के लिए मैं बहुत इच्छुक हूँ कि किस तरीके से ये आती हैं। और पिछली बार तो लगभग ऐसा लगा कि जीत भारतीय टीमों के हाथ में ही है, बट अगेन वहाँ पे साउथ ईस्ट एशियन टीमें जीत कर गई है। इस बार तो और खूंखार टीमें आ रही हैं। जानना चाहूंगा कि हमारे साथी खिलाड़ी जो जुड़ेंगे हमारे साथ, उनकी प्रतिक्रिया क्या रहने वाली है।
बिल्कुल, चलिए ज्यादा ना समय लगाते हुए हमारे आज के वेटरन्स को बुला लेते हैं। हमारे साथ जुड़ने वाले हैं ऑटोबॉट्स, प्रोडिजी, एंड साथ में जुड़ने वाले हैं टीम हिंद साहिल। वेलकम टू द शो गाइस, हाउ आर यू? फर्स्ट साहिल, आप कैसे हैं?
मैं बढ़िया, आप लोग बताओ कैसे हो?
हम भी बढ़िया हैं। एंड प्रोडिजी, ये पूछूंगा आपसे कैसे हैं। पर सबसे पहले ये बताइए, नाम क्या क्या राज है? कभी आप वेनम बन जाते हैं, कभी आप प्रोडिजी बन जाते हैं, फिर वेनम बन जाते हैं, फिर प्रोडिजी बन जाते हैं। नाम क्या क्या सिलसिला है ये?
परफॉर्मेंस सोचता हूँ प्रोडिजी नाम से अच्छा खेलूंगा, वेनम नाम से चैंपियनशिप छूट गई, या तो प्रोडिजी नाम से वापस चैंपियनशिप आ जाए, वापस मतलब IQ जैसे।
ये तो एक कुछ मांझरा है। वैसे नाम में क्या रखा है, काम देखिए, काम काफी खतरनाक करा था पिछली बार ऑटोबॉट्स ने। पिछले सीजन बहुत ही कमाल का प्ले नजर आया, जैसे कि आपने बात करी रॉकी की, बहुत ही ज्यादा इंप्रेस किया हमें इंडियन टीम्स ने। इस बार हम और भी ज्यादा उम्मीद करते हैं, और फैंस पहले से ज्यादा तैयार है इनके लिए।
जी बिल्कुल, देखिए फैंस में काफी जोशो खरोश भरा हुआ है, क्योंकि जिस हिसाब से हमने कुछ कमाल के क्लचेस भी देखे थे। मुझे याद है FFMIC रेटिंग डिफेंडिंग चैंपियंस टीम हिंद एंड शोटो का वो क्लच अभी भी याद करता हूँ तो रोंगटे खड़े हो जाते हैं। एक पल को ऐसा लगा कि खेल खत्म है, मलेशिया की टीम एक्सपांड जीत जाएगी, लेकिन उसके बाद शोटो आते हैं और पूरी टीम एक ही बार में छिन्न भिन्न करके चले जाते हैं। जो उनको एक टाइटल दिया था फैंस ने, दानव, उसको बिल्कुल जस्टिस किया, और अंग्रेजी में अनुवाद करो तो मॉन्स्टर, और बिल्कुल परफॉर्मेंस भी बिल्कुल वैसा ही मॉन्स्टरस दिखाया था उन्होंने। कुडोस,
बहुत ही कमाल का प्ले था। पर पिछली बार हमें याद है साहिल कि एक बहुत बड़ी प्रॉब्लम में फंसी थी यहाँ पे टीम ऑटोबॉट्स। शुरुआत करी इन्होंने नो बू या नो प्रॉब्लम से। जब चैंपियन रश का डे आया, जब ग्रैंड फाइनल का डे आया, तो नो बू या बिग प्रॉब्लम बन गई। 3 गेम इन्होंने खेले जिसमें इन्होंने 80 पॉइंट्स एक्वायर कर लिए और उसके बाद बूया से कन्वर्ट नहीं हुए। क्या लगता है ये जो प्ले स्टाइल है इसके ऊपर कोई आपकी प्रतिक्रिया, क्योंकि आपने भी बहुत डिटेल में देखा था कि क्या क्या चीजें हुई थी, कैसे कैसे हुई थी, तो उसके ऊपर कुछ आपकी राय?
मेरे को ऐसा लगता है क्योंकि देखो मोस्टली टीम में जो भी मतलब स्टार्टिंग के 3, 4 या 5 गेम में जो 80 पॉइंट जो सबसे पहले कर लेती है ना टीम, तो फिर सबसे ज्यादा प्रेशर होता है। वो टीम थोड़ा कैजुअल आराम से खेलती है कि फाइट ना ले, बच के खेले, होल्ड करने लग जाती है। मोस्टली वो जोन प्रेफर करती है ना कि फाइट लेने से। और जितनी भी टीम है लाइक जैसे ऑटोबॉट्स ने करा 80 पॉइंट सबसे पहले, और 11 टीम है, अब उनके माइंड में क्या है, उनको सिर्फ फाइट लेनी है, जल्दी से जल्दी 80 पॉइंट करने हैं। और ऑटोबॉट सोच के चल रही है कि अरे चलो हम होल्ड करते, तो बहुत ज्यादा प्रेशर आ जाता है, तो इसी वजह से टीम थोड़ा चोक कर देती है।
होल्ड। वैसे मैं प्रौढ़ जी आपसे पूछना चाहूंगा कि पिछली बार 80 अंक 3 गेमों के अंदर, इट वाज अ स्पीड रन फॉर अदर्स, आई थिंक सो इट वाज अ स्पीड रन कि आप सबसे पहले दौड़कर 80 पॉइंट टच करने की कोशिश कर रहे हो। 3 गेम के अंदर एक नया वर्ल्ड रिकॉर्ड आपने क्रिएट करा। देन उसके बाद क्या हो गया था टीम के अंदर, क्या हो गया प्ले स्टाइल को लेकर, उस रिदम को क्या हो गया कि बूया से कन्वर्ट नहीं हुए?
बूया हाँ 80 पॉइंट होने के बाद हम लोग चैंपियनशिप के मतलब उधर देख रहे थे, मतलब प्रेशर आया था बहुत, तो हम लोग जोन टू जोन जा रहे थे। किस्मत भी हमारे साथ नहीं थी, 2 साइड से थर्ड पार्टी होता है, कभी चोक हो जाता है लास्ट जोन में आके, तो ये प्रेशर में खेल रहे थे हम लोग, तो बुया कन्वर्ट नहीं कर पाए।
वेल कमिंग बैक टू द सेकंड क्वेश्चन, मैं दोनों से ही पूछना चाहूंगा, स्टार्टिंग फ्रॉम साहिल देन प्रोडिजी, कि जो चैंपियंस बने थे पिछले FFMAI में देवा यूनाइटेड हॉरिस, कंसिस्टेंसी उनकी ताकत रही थी। एक पल को ऐसा लगा कि काफी पीछे है, ऑटोबॉट्स ने पूरा का पूरा मेला लूट लिया है, 3 गेम में 80 पॉइंट जोड़ दिए, लेकिन देवा यूनाइटेड हॉरिस पहले धीरे धीरे आगे बढ़े, फिर उसके बाद एक मैच में उन्होंने चैंपियन एक्टिवेट किया, और उसके बाद के ही मैच में जैसे ही मौका मिला, एक चांस मिला, आपने पूरी कोशिश की थी आपकी टीम ने, साहिल शोटो के उस कमाल के क्लच ने वहां पे एक्सपांड को जीतने से रोक दिया, लेकिन उसके बाद देवा यूनाइटेड हॉरिस ने मौका नहीं गवाया। तो आपको लगता है चैंपियन रश फॉर्मेट में एट दी एंड कंसिस्टेंसी भी काफी मायने रखती है, जैसा देवा यूनाइटेड हॉरिस ने दिखाया?
हाँ बिल्कुल, देखो उन्होंने लीग स्टेज से बहुत अच्छा परफॉर्म करा था देवा ने, वो लीग में भी परफॉर्म करते जा रहे हैं, वो बुया कन्वर्ट कर रहे थे, जो हम मतलब अभी क्योंकि कन्वर्ट नहीं कर पा रही इंडियन टीम्स, क्योंकि हमारे लिए भी ये बाहर की टीमों के साथ नया ही फॉर्मेट है, हम इंडियन टीम्स साथ में खेलते हैं, बड़ा इजीली कर लेते हैं, बट देवा वो टीम एक्सपीरियंस है, उनको पता है कैसे होल्ड करना है, उनको एक मौका मिला और उन्होंने बुया कन्वर्ट कर दिया और वो चैंपियन बन गए इजीली।
ये तो बिल्कुल सही बोला है कि मतलब अगर हम देखें अल्टीमेटली कंसिस्टेंट थे, एंड वो शुरुआत से कंसिस्टेंट थे, इवन दो गेम फिर भी फेवर बनी जा रहे थे, वो लगातार जो उनका गोल था स्लो एंड स्टडी, उसके साथ प्रोग्रेस ली। सबसे लेट मैं कहूं तो सबसे लेट यहाँ पर उन्होंने चैंपियनशिप एक्टिवेट करा, देन उसका तुरंत बुया कन्वर्ट कर दिया। वो जो कन्वर्जन रेशियो वो बहुत ही ज्यादा सॉलिड था, विन रेशियो बहुत ही ज्यादा सॉलिड था, वो बहुत क्रूशियल विन रेशियो था। पर एक और चीज हुई है इस बार इस नए एडिशन में, चैंपियन रश के बार को और भी ज्यादा अपलिफ्ट करा है, उसके थ्रेशोल्ड को 80 से 90 कर दिया है। मुझे लगता है ये चीज काफी हद तक ऑटोबॉट्स को ध्यान में रखकर करा है कि ये तो 3 ही गेम में कर दे रहे हैं 80 पॉइंट, इंडियन टीम्स तो 3 गेम में कर दे रही है, थोड़ा सा 90 पॉइंट्स करा जाए। क्या लगता है इस बार साहिल, मैं आपसे पूछना चाहूंगा कितना चैलेंजिंग रहेगा 90 पॉइंट्स का? 80 पॉइंट्स का बार ठीक था या फिर इसे और बढ़ाना चाहिए 90 से?
नहीं, मैं बढ़ू जब से हमने सुना था मतलब नया, क्योंकि जब 80 पॉइंट होता है टीम में बस जो होल्ड करना होता है, गेम को थोड़ा धीरे चलाना होता है, वो नहीं चलता। टीम खेलती है, क्लैशेस होते हैं, थर्ड पार्टीज होती है, वो बड़ा इजीली टीमें 70-80 पॉइंट बहुत इजी कर लेती है, बट 90 अब हो गया है तो थोड़ा टाइम लगेगा, गेम 5, 6, 7 गेम तक जाएगा टूर्नामेंट में। बहुत बार तो ऐसा होता है कि लाइक 4th-5th गेम में टीम 80 कर रही है और बुया मार के टूर्नामेंट ही खत्म कर दे रही है। तो अब 92 है तो हम बड़े खुश थे कि अच्छा है, कुछ चेंज हुआ है टीमों में, और ज्यादा कंपटीशन होगा, धीरे नहीं होंगे जल्दी से 80 पॉइंट, तो मजा आने वाला है। आपकी बात
टीम्स की बात करी है यहाँ पे और इन्होंने, तो एक प्रश्न मेरे मन में आ रहा है, पूछना चाहूंगा विद योर परमिशन। इंटरनेशनल टीमें, 4 बड़ी टीमें मैदान में उतर रही हैं, BTR बाय वाइटैलिटी, फैल्कन्स, ऑल गेमर्स ग्लोबल और उसके अलावा RRQ काजू। तो स्टार्टिंग फ्रॉम फैल्कन्स, मैं पूछना चाहूंगा आपसे प्रोडिजी कि देखिए फॉर्मर EWC चैंपियंस हैं, भारत में उनका रिकॉर्ड काफी जबरदस्त है। और अभी भी अगर मुझे याद आ रहा है, और जो लीग स्टेज का रिकॉर्ड है मैक्सिमम पॉइंट्स का 2 दिन के भीतर, देवा यूनाइटेड होरस शायद तोड़ नहीं पाए थे, तो फैल्कन्स का रिकॉर्ड अभी भी बरकरार है। तो इस किस्म के ऐतिहासिक टीम को रोक पाएंगे? क्योंकि हम 80 से 90 पॉइंट चैंपियन रश की चर्चा तो कर रहे हैं, लेकिन जो खतरा आ रहा है उसके बारे में आपकी क्या प्लानिंग है प्रोडेजी? व्हाट आर योर थॉट्स एंड योर टीम थॉट्स रिगार्डिंग फैल्कन्स?
फैल्कन्स काफ़ी अच्छी टीम है, उनका टीम गेम भी अच्छा है, फायर पावर भी अच्छा है उनका, मतलब हम लोग ट्राई करेंगे उनको रोक सके। बाकी कॉन्फिडेंस तो ऊपर ही है, बाकी वो लोग काफ़ी डिसिप्लिन है जो इंडियन टीम्स में है नहीं।
सेम सवाल मेरा साहिल के लिए रहेगा। पिछली बार जो हमारा इससे पिछला सीजन हुआ था फैल्कन्स जिसमें आई थी, साहिल आपकी टीम ने भी खेला था वो सीजन, फैल्कन्स का प्ले स्टाइल आपको क्या लगा? मतलब क्या ऐसी चीज लगी जो उनका प्ले स्टाइल बहुत स्पेशल बनाती है हमारे प्ले स्टाइल से, या फिर कौन सी ऐसी गलती आप नोटिस करते हैं जो वो और भी जरा बेटर कर सकते हैं, या फिर कुछ तो आपने अलग नोटिस करा होगा उनके प्ले स्टाइल में हमसे?
एक हमने पिछले से पिछला फैल्कन्स आई थी तब हम लीग स्टेज से पहले ही बाहर हो गए थे, क्योंकि हम फुल मैप में तो उनसे कम्पीट नहीं कर पाए थे। बट हमने सीएस में पहला मैच हमारा फैल्कन के साथ ही था, तो उनका कोऑर्डिनेशन इतना अच्छा है ना, हम इंडियन टीम से बहुत ज्यादा आगे अभी के टाइम पे, क्योंकि वो इंटरनेशनल टीमों के साथ खेलते हैं, सी खेलते हैं वो लोग साथ में। तो मेरे को बट एक और चीज लगती है, फैल्कन अब FFMAI होगा उसमें इतना कंपटीशन नहीं दे पाएगी एज कम्पेयर टू अदर 3 टीम्स, क्योंकि जो लास्ट टूर्नामेंट में भी फैल्कन्स आई थी उसमें इंडियन टीम्स उनको 4v4 इजिली मार दे रही थी। हम नहीं थे क्वालिफाई, बट फिर भी अदर इंडियन टीम्स उनको इजिली वाइप आउट कर दे रही थी। तो मेरे को ऐसा लगता है कि फैल्कन उतना कंपटीशन नहीं दे पाएगी अब की बार।
सॉलिड स्टेटमेंट यार, सॉलिड स्टेटमेंट। ओके भाई,
बिल्कुल। और कंपटीशन की बात की है, क्लैश स्क्वाड की बात की है, तो कंपटीशन में इस बार वर्ल्ड क्लैश स्क्वाड चैंपियंस ऑल गेमर्स ग्लोबल आ रहे हैं। इस बारे में क्या कहना चाहेंगे आप जाडी जी? क्या लगता है ऑल गेमर्स ग्लोबल, एजी ग्लोबल, क्या तैयारी रहेगी? दैट मेस्मराइजिंग स्नाइपिंग ऑफ ड्यू, और जिस हिसाब से साइफा इंपैक्ट डाल रहे हैं एक के बाद एक टूर्नामेंट्स में, क्या लगता है जाडी जी, क्या तैयारी है आपकी?
तैयारी हमारी भी है, और मतलब मोस्ट सारी इंडियन टीम्स की है कि अब की बार कंपटीशन देंगे अच्छा। लास्ट टाइम जैसा नहीं होगा कि जैसे कि 2 टीम आई वो मतलब देवा आके चैंपियन बन गई, पूरा कंपटीशन भी देंगे। बट अब की बार थोड़ा और ज्यादा अच्छी टीम्स आ रही है, तो कंपटीशन वैसे ही हाई रहेगा, तो मजा आने वाला है। और एजी, RRQ एंड BTR और फैल्कन चारों टीमें बहुत ज्यादा अच्छी एक्सपीरियंस टीम है, चैंपियन टीम है, तो देखते हैं, मजा आने वाला है। वो क्या करेंगे गेम में पता चलेगा वो तो।
वैसे मैं एक चीज पूछना चाहूंगा आपसे, मतलब पिछली बार आप मेन इवेंट के अंदर डायरेक्टली इनवाइटेड थे, एंड इस बार टीम ऑटोबॉट्स डायरेक्ट इनवाइटेड होने वाली है मेन इवेंट के अंदर। तो आपने क्या चीज ऐसी नोटिस करी साहिल की जो जैसे मतलब आपने प्लेन्स नहीं खेला है, प्लेन्स का कंपटीशन खेल करके ऑटोबॉट्स को बहुत ज्यादा हेल्प हुई होगी, आपने कहीं ना कहीं मेन इवेंट में डायरेक्टली एंट्री करी, तो क्या लगता है कि कोई टिप जो आप ऑटोबॉट्स को देना चाहें, या फिर वैनम या फिर प्रोडिजी को देना चाहें कि आप ये चीज कीजिए मेन इवेंट के अंदर, शायद आपके लिए बहुत ज्यादा यूजफुल हो?
मैं प्रोडिजी को बस यही बोलूंगा, थोड़ा टीमों का गेम स्टाइल देखना, कौन कैसा खेल रहा है, थोड़ा एग्रेसिव है या मतलब जोन होल, क्योंकि लास्ट टाइम हम मेन इवेंट में स्लोर था तो हम इजीली लेके चल रहे थे, चलो चलो चलो, बट वो ऐसा नहीं होता। जो टीम खेल के आ रही होती है वो देखती है कि टीम कैसा परफॉर्म कर रही है, उनको गिराता है टीमों का। तो बस थोड़ा देखना, सारी टीमों को ऑब्जर्व करना और उस हिसाब से खेलना, तैयारी करके आना।
एक और टीम के बारे में चर्चा काफी है, और विद योर परमिशन मैं ये प्रश्न इस बार प्रोडिजी से पूछना चाहूंगा। वन ऑफ द मोस्ट फेमस टीम्स फ्रॉम इंडिया, आईकू टोटल गेमिंग, भारी भरकम बदलाव के साथ इस वक्त मैदान में उतर रही है, जहां पे इस बार इस टूर्नामेंट के लिहाज से डिलीट को विश्राम दिया गया। वोटा जो है हुए हैं टीम में एज अ सेकेंडरी रशर, इफ आई एम नॉट रॉन्ग। क्या कहना चाहेंगे प्रोडिजी, क्या लगता है आईकू टोटल गेमिंग के लिए कहीं ना कहीं ये जो कदम है ये फायदेमंद साबित होगा, या आपको लग रहा है कि इतने बड़े स्केल में ये जो इस किस्म से प्लेयर रिप्लेस हुआ ये इनके लिए नुकसानदायी भी हो सकता है? व्हाट आर योर थॉट्स अबाउट आईकू टोटल गेमिंग्स न्यू रोस्टर?
डिलीट काफी एक्सपीरियंस था, अभी ओटा नया एडिशन है, तो ओटा तो पहले हैशटैग का दोस्त था, तो शायद इसलिए हैशटैग ने ओटा को बोला होगा, पहले सुहन से पहले ही बोला होगा मेरे को तो लगता है। और ओटा और हैशटैग का कोऑर्डिनेशन काफी अच्छा है, उनके लिए काफी फायदेमंद ही होगा। मतलब डिलीट पहले था, हाँ वो भी मतलब अच्छा ही था, अभी तो पहले लगता है मतलब थोड़ा वीक होगा IQ टोटल गेमिंग के लिए, लेकिन ठीक है अभी भी वो लोग अच्छा खेल सकते काफी।
देखिए ये आपने काफी इंटरेस्टिंग सवाल पूछा है। वैसे रोस्टर चेंजेस काफी सारे हुए हैं इस बार FFMAI से पहले एंड मल्टीपल टीम्स के अंदर हुए हैं और उनमें से एक टीम के प्लेयर हमारे साथ भी होने वाले हैं, टीम ऑटोबॉट्स। मैं वेनम की तरफ, प्रॉडजी की तरफ वापस आना चाहूंगा। प्रॉडजी, मैं ये सवाल आपसे पूछूंगा, कुणाल आपकी टीम में वन ऑफ द मोस्ट एक्सपीरियंस प्लेयर थे, आई थिंक सो आपकी टीम के अंदर काफी ज्यादा इंपैक्ट भी डाला उन्होंने, पर रिसेंटली लाइनअप के अंदर चेंजेस हुए हैं, आईजीलिंग में भी ऑफ कोर्स चेंजेस होंगे। न्यू आईजीएल कौन है टीम के एंड कुणाल का जाना टीम को किस तरीके से इफेक्ट करेगा? कुछ चीजें जो आप डिस्कस करना चाहें हमारे साथ।
ये क्वेश्चन तो एक्सपेक्ट था, मैड ने भी कहा था। हाँ पहले तो आईजीएल मैड ही होने वाला है और कुणाल भाई हमारी टीम में कुछ कॉन्फ्लिक्ट्स हो रहे थे टीम के अंदर, मतलब थोड़ा हाँ, तो सबने म्यूचुअली डिसाइड किया कि कुणाल भाई के साथ नहीं खेलते और मैड ने डिसाइड किया, मैड ने क्या सभी ने डिसाइड किया कुणाल भाई के साथ आगे कंटिन्यू नहीं करते, तो वही मतलब थोड़ा कॉन्फ्लिक्ट चल रहे थे टीम के अंदर। बाकी बता नहीं सकता, आपको ही पता है टीम के अंदर की बातें।
नहीं हमें नहीं पता।
मैं आपसे एपिसोड के बाद पूछूंगा टीम के अंदर की बातें। पर अल्टीमेटली मैं आपसे ये पूछ रहा हूँ कि अभी न्यू आईजीएल आपके मैड गॉड होने वाले हैं एंड मैड गॉड अभी एक रिकवरी फेज से भी गुजर रहे हैं, उनको थोड़ी सी फिजिकल इश्यूज भी थे एंड अभी वो ट्रीटमेंट से गुजर रहे हैं। तो क्या लगता है कि इस बार FFMAI में पहले से ज्यादा अच्छा रिजल्ट आ सकता है या फिर थोड़े चैलेंजेस हो सकते हैं? कुणाल की आईजीलिंग ज्यादा बेटर थी।
वो तो कह नहीं सकते। अभी कुणाल भाई जब खेलते थे तब हमारे गेम पे मतलब काफी इम्पैक्ट पड़ा था उनका अंडर खेलने के बाद। तो अभी शायद अभी काफी एक्सपीरियंस हो गए हैं हम लोग, क्या आता हम लोग अच्छा खेल सकते हैं, मतलब हाँ शायद पोडियम भी फिनिश कर सकते हैं, हम लोग अपना पूरा बेस देंगे खेलने का।
जनता के कुछ क्वेश्चंस हैं वो जरूर मैं समझता हूँ और इनसे पूछने पड़ेंगे। देखिए कुछ प्रश्न है, पहले मैं पूछूंगा उसके बाद और पूछेंगे, कुछ सेट ऑफ क्वेश्चंस हैं। तो सबसे पहले मैं ये जानना चाहूंगा, पहले दोनों में से डिसाइड कर लीजिए, साहिल या प्रोडिजी, किससे पूछूं सबसे पहले?
साहिल भाई से पूछ लीजिए।
अरे ओके चलिए, यहाँ पे तो इज्जत दी जा रही है। इन्विटेशनल में नहीं पता कि रश करने से पहले पूछा जाएगा कि नहीं। ठीक है साहिल नजार जी, आपके लिए कुछ प्रश्न है, कोशिश कीजिएगा फटाफट जवाब दे। स्मॉल रैपिड फायर काइंड ऑफ क्वेश्चंस हैं, ठीक है? आपको लगता है साउथ एशियन टीमें जो हैं वो अभी के समय पे जिस हिसाब से रीसेंट सिनारियो हमारे बीते हैं, कुछ टूर्नामेंट्स बीते हैं, उस हिसाब से साउथ ईस्ट एशियन टीमों से लड़ने के लिए बराबरी के स्तर पे खड़े हैं?
अभी तो नहीं खड़े, मेरे को ऐसा लगता है थोड़ा और इम्प्रूवमेंट की जरूरत है, थोड़ा ग्रैंड की जरूरत है, और एक आधी टूर्नामेंट हो रहा है इंटरनेशनल, तब मजा आएगा।
सिंपल,
बड़ा प्रश्न,
सेटल आंसर होने वाला है। एंड अगेन मैं अगला क्वेश्चन पूछूंगा। ये क्वेश्चन होने वाला है यहाँ पे प्रोडिजी आपके लिए। वोटर का रिप्लेसमेंट, वोटर डिलीट को रिप्लेस कर रहे हैं, क्या एक सही डिसीजन था, हाँ या नहीं? सिंपल, स्ट्रेट फॉरवर्ड। रॉकी भाई आप?
जाट जी क्या लगता है, टीम हिंद क्या इस बार का टाइटल जीतने का दमखम रखती है?
यस, क्यों नहीं?
दैट्स द स्पिरिट। गो अहेड ओरा।
मुझे ये सवाल मैं प्रोडिजी आपसे पूछूंगा, कौन सी ऐसी टीम आपको लगता है जो यहाँ पे बस बोलती है पर उनका कुछ काम होता नहीं, मतलब ग्राउंड रियलिटी में कुछ नहीं है, मतलब बोलने की है, नाम बड़े दर्शन छोटे?
हॉटशॉट एस्पोर्ट्स।
यहाँ डिप्लोमेसी दिखा दी।
अरे इनके अंदर सब बातें बड़ी बड़ी करते हैं।
चलो तो कुछ और मजेदार क्वेश्चंस हैं, ठीक है? ऐसा कहा जा रहा है जाट जी कि साउथ एशियन टीमें जो हैं वो इस बार टॉप 3 तक भी नहीं पहुंच पाएगी, आपके क्या विचार है इस बारे में?
मुझे तो गलती लग रहा है, वो टॉप 3 में तो आएगी, एक ना एक टीम तो फिक्स ही है।
वेल सेड।
ओके साहिल, मेरा क्वेश्चन है आपसे ही होने वाला है। आपको लगता है कौन सी ऐसी टीम है जो
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the show, and we are back in FFMAI. Spring has brought us the bloom, but it's summer, it will bring us the boom. This is Fire Max Asia Invitational 2026 Summer, and we are going to see the strongest out of South Asia and Southeast Asia collide in this battle of Free Fire. I'm Neptune Garcia with my brother Mustacho AJ, and we'll be your casters for the first half of this day.
Absolutely, brother. I am pumped. I am excited. You said boom and it blew me away. I cannot wait to see what happens. This is the South Asia play-ins. This is Fire Max Asia Invitational 2026 Summer. It feels like spring just ended, Neptune. It's automatically, we are in it. We don't want to skip a beat. India is preparing to take on the world, the international stage. And on the way there, I thought, hey, you know what? Since we are doing it, why don't we bring our boys from South Asia and get into it? And then halfway through, they were like, wait. What if we invited Southeast Asia and FFMAX Asia Invitational was born? I am super excited because for the first time ever, we are going big time in our main week. The top dogs that we've got waiting for us there, man, I don't even want to think about it just yet. This, I tell you, Neptune, is the most exciting lineup of squads that we have had so far at the Fire Max Asia Invitationals.
Yeah, I do agree. You know how it seems like they're working out. You started off with some of those slow start, and then you slowly hype it up, and then towards that main event, we've seen top dogs go in for the fight, and they will be stronger after that. So hopefully this time around, South Asia will be able to take the crown, because from the past 2 seasons of FFMAI or Fire Max Asia Invitational, we've seen it's Southeast Asia who's grabbing that crown, and it seems like South Asia is being left behind.
I don't think they'll be left behind for so long, man. Because I'll tell you what happened. 2 seasons in a row, South Asia has already dropped the ball. But I'll continue that conversation with you in a little bit. Let's jump over to this in a bit, Neptune. Tournament timeline, you know what it is. From today all the way until Sunday, it's the South Asia Plains. We've got 3 days of battle. We'll tell you how the tournament format works in a little bit. Main event, though, is next week, 4 days in a row. We start off on the 18th. We end on the 21st of June. On the 21st is your grand finals. It's going to be Champion Rush. It is gonna be hella fun, but it is the tournament format that you will see how we're gonna be breaking down these groups and sending them from one phase into the other.
Yeah, we were talking about 2 weeks of hot engagement right here. South Asia play-ins, main event, and then just right after would be the Grand Finals Champion Rush. So let's see though how the team's going to break it off right now, because in this competition, we built it into 2 stages before the title fight. We have the South Asia play-ins that we've witnessed, that we've seen earlier, dated for 3 days, and we will be getting the top 8 that will be earning their spot onto the main event. 10 invited teams would be added into mix on the main event, where we get the top 18, or where we have the 18, and then out of 3 days we get the 12 surviving teams, and they will be meeting up on the Champion Rush Grand Finals.
Absolutely. Here, the South Asia Plains, that's going to be our main focus from today all the way down into Sunday. Yes, we did say there are 3 days for the round robin, but there are 3 groups. Each day, only 2 groups will play. What does that mean? That means each group only has 2 play days, which means only 12 games to find the qualifier. And of course, as you head on into the main week, the top 12 gets into the grand finals where they'll have to play Champion Rush. 90 points is the cutoff this time round. And once you achieve that, the first team to hit a booyah right after gets crowned the champions of the Fire Max Asia Invitational 2026 Summer.
Champion Rush activation is slowly being put up because of how easy some of the teams are bringing numbers, and now they have to go in with 90 points. But again, curse always happen in FFMAI, wherein even the first one who activated doesn't even get that trophy towards the end. So let's see though which team will be taking that champion, as well as taking the $15,000, the biggest piece of that $50,000 prize pool.
Man, I'm Asian, you're Asian, most people watching all Asian, and when Asians see USD, we just think, what's the currency exchange looking like? It is looking very good. $50,000 is a lot of money, and I'm so excited to see these teams get a chance to earn it, but you gotta get into the main week to stand a chance to walk away with something good, which is what is gonna up the ante a tad bit more here at the South Asia Plains. Only 8 out of the 18 teams that we have at the South Asia Plains will be able to make a run run for this money. And you're right, man, the biggest slice of the pie, 15,000 USD. Who doesn't want that? Everybody wants it.
Yeah, I do agree. I mean, hopefully they really hustle all throughout to get to the top 8, because that's the only time that's the only chance that they will be getting those pieces of this pie, especially those who will be introduced in the South Asia play-ins. But there's a lot more in store right now. Not only the motivation of the USDs that we have in the prize pool, it's also the prestige of the teams getting that trophy towards the end. And how are they going to do that? It's up to the points right now. The cardinal rule of Free Fire, we start off with that Booyah with 12 points. It goes down to 9 in second place, and it goes down by 1 up until the 10th place. It's just unfortunate that 11 and 12 will get a 0, nada, zilch. So hopefully they can stack up to elimination, because the 1 elimination is equivalent to 1 point.
Yeah, absolutely nothing down there in that 11th and 12th spot for placement. So you got to make it up with those eliminations. And if we do have a tiebreaker, we'll first look at the number of booyahs to see exactly who ends up on top. If that fails, we look at the total eliminations. If that still fails, then we check out the ranking in the final game. And that will not let us down. We'll be able to sort them out on that leaderboard for sure before we present it to all of you. Today, is it going to matter? Absolutely, it's going to matter. Because again, Neptune, we only have 12 games for these teams to get it done, which makes this next screen so much more important, because a big change that we have brought into the competition since last year has been rocking the world of every single analyst, every single coach, every single captain out there, Neptune. And I have been having absolute fun with it. What is it? It's the 1 unique active skill rule. 4 unique active skills need to be used out there on the back.
Yeah, it gives a more focus for most of the teams right here to really get into the depths of the skills that they're going to bring in. It is equivalent to the roles that they have as well. So let's see if this is something that they can mix it up to pull a surprise against the other teams. Again, the unique active skill has been introduced from last year, and now it's just going into great lengths wherein we might be seeing some who will be pulling off a few of those surprises, especially in snipers. It has been something that we don't see often, that the iris being used, but in some regions we've seen that being done quite well. So let's see how the team's going to plan it out, and this also gives us an identity to what the teams is going to plan. If they make that build wherein they are aggressive, then they might be pulling up some of those Oscars, Valiant Dash. We're also seeing some Riptide Rhythms into the mix. But let's introduce the groups, or the teams, out of the 2 groups that we will be giving you for today. We have Group A and B, and we start off with RNX Esports, NXT Esports, Team Hind from India for Group A, Bangla Unity from Bangladesh. We have Nepal's BB.S9X Esports and Pakistan's Rezurrection X. That's Group A. For Group B, we have GodLike Esports, Nebula Esports, and Reventant XSpark from India. We have Straw Hats as well as Flame Esports from Bangladesh and Hotshots from Pakistan. So some of the teams does have prestige already when it comes to Fire Max Asia Invitational, but for some, they are just new to the party. So I'm really looking forward to what they're going to bring out on the table right now. For this specific group, or for Group A, we have BB.S9X as well as Bangla Unity. That will be new contenders into this mix, and we have a few that was invited from the spring season and now will be starting it off in that South Asia play-in. So this might be even tougher for those who tried to qualify or has qualified from previous seasons South Asia play-ins, but now this is where it gets harder. So hopefully the teams will be able to find their way into the first game, or in the first few matches they have. As AJ mentioned earlier, this is only 2 games out of each group, or 2 days out of each group that they will be playing out for this week of the South Asia play-in. So really looking forward to how they're going to make it work right now. And in a bit, we're going to see the teams line up as well, because I'm really looking forward to some familiar names that we have in this mix, especially for those who qualified from South Asia play-ins from the previous season and now trying to make their way once again. Again, this are Team Hind, who really showed us that they can bring into the numbers, especially as they they dominate their own region. But when it comes to getting into Free Fire Max Asia Invitational, it wasn't that easy. So hopefully this time they will be able to recover. For Rezurrection X, I'm really looking forward for them to really pop off right now. This is the second time they will play into the Free Fire Max Asia Invitational, but unfortunately for them, from previous season South Asia play-ins, they got eliminated in 16th spot. So I'm really looking forward to turn things around right now for RZX. Bangla Unity, again, as I mentioned earlier, together with BB.S9X Esports, new contenders in the mix, and this might be an element of surprise that we might be seeing out of the mix that we have from Group A and B. Well, so far, again, this is just the teams that we have right now. There's a lot of storylines that can be built right here, especially for some of the teams that has made it that much onto that fight. Now, let's take a look at some of the teams. GodLike Esports, a team that has, I would say, has been put in the number 4 curse. Because even from the spring main event, they are in the grand finals rather, they ended in 4th. And even in the Free Fire Max Asia Invitational, that's 4th place. And then TES FFMIC, they were at 4th place as well. So hopefully they can pull away from that place in this game. Slow it down as long as you qualify from the South Asia play-ins towards the main event, and then slowly make your work into the grand finals as well. Hotshots though, a familiar team, but so far the result is also familiar for us. Hotshot has been shown to us initially in the global stage from EWC from 2024, and now they are trying to bring back that prestige. And their own global finals, they were introduced as well in 2025 for a run wherein it didn't end quite well. So this might be a chance for them to really practice their run before they join any other major leagues. I'm not saying that they're not major players, but they need a lot of work to keep their consistency alive in this fight. Straw Hats, another team that a lot of fans out there would be cheering on because they took a lead in their own region. So really looking forward to how they're going to play it out right now. Game schedule. We are going to start off with 3 maps wherein me and AJ will be casting. It starts off with Purgatory, followed by Solara, and then Kalahari until game number 3. We're going to switch it up later for new sets of casters, but the game doesn't stop there. We are going to go for Nextera, and then OG map Bermuda, and a randomized game number 6, which can be an element surprise for any of the teams who are map specific in their performance. So I'm really eyeing on some teams who can do best in most of the maps right here, because it's not often that we see a team who can do it quite well, especially on that switch from Solara to Kalahari. That's a hard transition overall, because you have the slide rails in Solara, you don't have that much of escape from Kalahari other than the hook gun that is being brought in by most of the teams in this competition. So it's still a question mark on who's going to bring the numbers in terms of elimination as well as placement point once we end this day. And this is just Group A and B. We still have yet to see the teams from Group C. And speaking of Group C, they have a better chance of identifying who would be the tough contender that they will be staying away from, or who are the ones that they can go and hot drop and go in for the battle a little bit early in this fight. But let's take a look at the prepared drop spot of most of the teams right here. And a bunch of teams, maybe that 5 specific teams, will be dropping or planning to drop in Brasilia. So hopefully some of those teams would be moving away from that. There's plenty of areas, especially in Central, Fire Brigade, even Forge and Campsite is available. Moat House would be something that might see an early engagement, because not only Crossroads occupied by 2 teams, we might see one of those moving away from that, might be meeting up some of those who are also in this mix like RNX. So just great rotation that needs to be done by the teams right now. Survivability would be on point, and need to find those vending machines or coin machines and vending machine first so that they at least can end on the final circle. The expectation has been set, and hopefully most of the team will stay true to this because we want to see chaos, especially in this map of Purgatory, wherein not only is the hot drop involved, it's also the skewed flight path that more often than not, has been happening in this specific map. Thus, this is my favorite overall. In most instances, even if there's not even like a skewed flight path, some of the teams has been planning and has a mindset already that they can hot drop each other. It's a good way to start game number 1 for this first day of South Asia play-ins, because we still don't know where teams will be heading into this game. So, really looking forward to some teams to bring it on. Few teams that might be new to you, especially for those who are just introduced to Fire Max Asia Invitational 2026 summer. We have Nebula Esports, previously known or better known as GG Instincts. They are a team that really brought in the fire in them from the previous season, but it's just really tough for them to recover in this fight. They did qualify 6th on the spring, and then towards the main event, they only ended up on the 15th. So they didn't even get into the grand final. So this time around, we've seen the tenacity already from previous season. This time around, we're looking forward for them to really get into that champion rush. Now, for some of those familiar squad, especially Rezurrection X, they were eliminated a little bit early from previous season, placing themselves in the 16th spot. But we've seen in most cases that they are going aggressive this time. So this might be one of the team who will be racking up a lot of elimination points. But again, there is a risk. When it comes to the play-ins or qualifiers towards the main event, you tend to pull up a lot of your aces, a lot of your cards into the mix that would be seen and waited on by those top dogs into the main event. So it's just a battle of strategy right now. Hopefully they bring up pages or plans from A to Z to be able to catch up to some of the adjustment that is being brought in by most of the teams. And we also have again the new introductory to this team, to this squads, like BB.S9 from Nepal, as well as Bangla Unity from Bangladesh. A few contenders that we still have yet to see how well they are going to bring in those points. I'm expecting that they will be just going in for survivability, waiting for the perfect opportunity to go in final circle, and even with less elimination, they can bounce it off with that booyah. So there's just a lot of things that can be done, a lot of a mix of strategy that can be done by these new contenders. And I'm hoping that they were also watching previous season as well, wherein they learn how some of those that will be coming back in this competition are rotating. So that would be a strategy that can bring those top dogs down into the leaderboard. Apologies for the wait, guys. We're just waiting for the match to begin and really looking forward to how these matches is going to start. So, for those of you watching right now, for those of you waiting for the battle to start, make sure they put in the comment section, wherever platform you're watching on, put in the comment section where you or which team you are rooting for, especially for these groups from A and B. Again, we have RNX, we have NXT, we have Team Hind, we have Bangla Unity, BB.S9X, we have Rezurrection X, GodLike, Nebula Esports, Reventant XSpark, Straw Hats, Flame Esports, as well as Hotshots. And here we go. Neither heaven or hell can save the squad who is not prepared for this battle. The game's about to begin, and let's see where the teams will be heading. The flight path would be coming from Crossroads, heading into just the south of Forge. And we're already seeing some of the teams heading out to their drop spot. Bangla Unity on their way to Moat House, where Nebula Esports is heading to Marble Works. They might be meeting up with GodLike in a bit, but with the distance that they have against each other, Nebula Esports might be able to get into Quarry if they move fast. A few teams will be heading into fields or just south of the fields onto the east of Brasilia, but no hot drops just yet being spotted in sight, other than those who might be heading into Lumber Mill. So it might be a slow start, but from what we've seen, Flame, Razzle, might be snuffed out right now, being chased by two players coming from a different squad. There goes elimination. Straw Hats has met one of that elimination, and I think it's RNX who did manage to get that shot, headshot already coming from the guy. It's only first minute mark, and I am assuming this will be slow, but for Arsh, trying to go in for the fight on a 1v2 situation, and Zabo will be taken down. Mini Uzi coming from the Zohan. You don't mess with the Zohan, and that's what Reventant XSpark has to say. A bit of mix-up right now from Flame Esports. Toki just staying down, and Shoko from the other side. RNX really bringing numbers. Flame Esports slowly dwindling in numbers as well. Aj, though, quite far from the rest of the squad. Arman from RNX is just hunting, going in for flank. See if he'll be able to spot out these players from Flame Esports. Sun, record in hand, great weapon to use. Break down those glue walls. Taj, almost taken down. It's a good thing he managed to speed away from behind that compound. And it is a standstill right now, because no one from Flame wants to be eliminated. I think they're planning an approach wherein they're trying to get into close to the vending machine before they go for the fight. But Adib will be taken down. Azovic right now with a max 7. Not really surprised for backstab. And even Hassan has been taken down. It is a clutch being done by Flame Esports. Another one bites the dust. And there goes a quick recovery coming from RNX. But we didn't expect that to happen this quickly. 3 elimination already from Flame Esports, and Flame is still bursting. Shoko right now almost being taken down. UMP in hand, and we know how that has been buffed, and a VSK that is being used by Shoko doesn't even stand a chance. So that's 4 eliminations already for Flame Esports, when we thought that they are the ones being taken down. So it's really getting tough right now into the battlefield, but no eliminated teams just yet. As we get into the 3rd minute mark of this game, we're seeing RNX, who's just hiding out from BB.S9X. On the other hand, we have NXT Esports once again meeting their demise. It's Reventant XSpark right now, who's moving in for that revive. Only Ash remains for NXT, but they do have the numbers already. But it's just unfortunate they couldn't get in onto that vending machine that's close behind, because already it is waited on by Revenant XSpark. But there goes the elimination onto NXT, and they will be going down with only 3 points to their pocket. Unity, Riz will not be resurrected at this point, and BU already have 2 points to their name. We do have a lightning squad that might damage them a bit, but Revenant XSpark, or RTX rather, Rezurrection X Esports are splitting up. They want to make that pull onto the rest of the squad, giving them an opportunity for the revive. Nebula Esports, though, after moving into Quarry after that drop just next to GodLike, they're making their way with 5 eliminations, and they're getting close to be the elimination leader right now if they can get 1 more. But, you know, when we talk about elimination leader, it is a Flame Esports who took that spot earlier on, but they need to deal with BB.S9X right now. And Azoic still on fire. M24 shot on 2. 1 players from BB.S9X, and this might prompt the team to pull away. Despite of having the high ground advantage, it's not looking good for their accuracy right now. Zoic still on the hunt, and there goes OM being taken down. Not even a Riptide rhythm, and that glue wall didn't survive that long. Flame Esports really on fire. Deepu remains, and this might be it for the squad. Eliminated with no way of fighting back, and Flame would still be our elimination leader. Straw Hats right now, after a slow run in this fight, only 3 elimination, but it's a good thing that they have full squad trying to distance themselves from the rest of the squad. From Forge to Ski Lodge, they might be able to get a few more loots, but it's first going the second phase of the circle. So, like bathing outside of blue doesn't hurt that much as well. So let's see if this is one thing that they can capitalize on. is a chance for the teams now to go in for that battle. Slowly but surely, some like team is not really giving a damn about what's happening on the other side. They want to go for survivability. They're just waiting in for each face of the circle to close in. But that's them being left behind by Flame Esports, who already have 10 elimination. And the pickup has been done, and one of the players, UAB, has been released. And let's see, though, if they can spot out some other teams from the other side of this area, because the high ground would be deadly for those being waited on by Flame Esports. 6.5 minutes into the match. We have 9 teams remaining in this fight. 3 teams who has been eliminated with very little fight in their hands. And this is what we're talking about. You have to play for survivability. Other than the hot drops or the drop spot that is being laid out, you need to identify the rotation of the opposing squad. But Hotshots right now, after waiting for the opportunity, 1 elimination, they will be meeting up. Different team, it's Straw Hats, and Straw Hats just bring them down. Only Actions and Leo will be left, and this might be a fight wherein they will be in trouble. It's a good thing that see, though, in a bit, there's a chance for them to really bring in the fight. And Hotshots, unfortunately, Action couldn't make any action from that battle. Straw Hats managed to win that on a 1v4, on a 4v1 situation, but they need to be moving fast because second and third is already coming in, and there's a lot of teams who's already looting up. One of those is Nebula Esports. Ultra airdrop in front of them, but here comes Bangla Unity. There was an element of surprise is still on them with a vehicle as they jump in. Cryo Mind not really stopping the team as they go in for the push. But Swaroop right now with a headshot, and Sihan and Hunter will be taken down. He just swooped in and took down 2 out of the 3 players in this Ultra airdrop together with Spark. And that's Nebula Esports' tenacity in this game. Let's see, with 8 elimination already, they might be able to catch up with Flame Esports. But in the horizon, we're seeing Team Hind, Tiger, being taken down. It's Sahil Jad with the AC-80. And Swaroop just identifying what rotation they need to do. Patlu, will he be able to go for the pickup? He managed to pull it off. But it's just a little bit too close for comfort. He left the one of players and didn't continue on that recovery. They might be taken down with that ice grenade. And Tiger once again being shot at. Shoto up close and personal. Wolfen for the flank. And as quickly as that, Nebula Esports being eliminated by Team Hind. And they will be out of the count, as well as out and running of elimination leaders. Good thing that Nebula Esports does manage to pull off that 8th elimination already in this game, bring them a little bit of numbers to their side. GodLike right now, they missed that opportunity in Quarry, but now they were able to chase down 3 opponents and get those 3 points. Zone closing in on the 3rd phase of the circle. Blue wall still being dealt with by GodLike, but I think they missed the memo. There's no more people out of the team from that other side, so they might need to move and rotate to find a few more player. Sihando on the ground as Hunter tries to go in for the pickup. It's Raihan who will go in for the push, but Hunter with that knockdown on KD God, even as he goes for the pickup, only shows us that Bangladesh is really on fire in this battle. 22 seconds until the zone closes in. They need to move fast because from Quarry, the blue will start to hurt. They might not be able to recover that quickly in this fight. And we'll have to see on what rotation they're going to make. They pull up a monster truck, and now they will be on the roll. And this is where I hear the music. They see me roll in. They hate in. Let's see though, who are they going to hate at this point? Well, as we look in the instant replay, this is what happened earlier as Nebula Esports has been instantly annihilated by Team Hind. And Team Hind is the ones who were spotted from the horizon. They do have that element of surprise from high ground, but it's just unfortunate. The position-wise was not on point from BU. Now, from Nebula Esports. But for BU right now, great timing on that glue wall as well as time turner as they pick up a few more loots on this ultra airdrop. But Team Hind not too far behind. Shoto will be taken down. And it's an AWM coming from Beerus right now. There's no pickup. That will happen. The zone's closing in. The zone is closing in fast, and I don't think there's so much chance for recovery right now. And Bangla Unity will try to be united in this fight, but hopefully divided in that fall, if in case they will be taken down. All right, it's been a while since we've seen RNX right now, but it's GodLike being taken down out of nowhere. They jumped in, not only in a safe position, but from above, it seems like they are in a good view to be taken down. Reventant XSpark, though, looking for a takedown against Flame Esports. Flame Esports knows what they have to do. They need to back away, keep their distance, force everyone else to fight against each other, and that's where they capitalize. Straw Hats, Xtrov. Let's see if they will be able to recover tenacity of RNX right now. They be able to beat them down out of those utilities, and they force them into the corner. Valiant dash, a deep for a takedown with M590, and he goes in for the flank. Hassan right now, not even giving a damn, but going in for a backup, and he uses that core to break down those glue walls. 6 elimination being taken, and with as easy as that, the Straw Hats has been taken out. 5 teams remaining in this fight. Team Hind in trouble. Solo player has little no chance of survivability, but Sahil Judd is still making work against Bangla Unity, and even Hunter couldn't do anything in this battle. Lazeldo, great position, great chance to break down the glue walls, and we are down to 4 teams. Oh no, Team Flame being seen in this fight. As we look into the battle right now, they be able to recover. They have taken a lot of elimination already, but this is what Revenant XSpark has been waiting for. Out of the dark, into the light, Zohan might be breaking down those glue walls in a bit. But the tower proves to be a little bit strong for the teams. Will they be able to pull it off? A booyah from the new contenders, Bangla Unity. And it's Arsh who will be beat down by some players from Flame Esports. It's a 4-way battle right now, or 3-way battle, as one of the teams is just keeping the distance as they rotate in the final circle. And we'll have to watch out if this is something that they can get into this fight.
And it looks like you might be able to hear me now, Neptune. I am so sorry for leaving you hanging out dry, man. Reventant XSpark back in here. But it looks like Bangla Unity wants to make a name for themselves. Reinhardt, one more enemy. Vincent inside. AWM, he barricades himself through. And the buddy here, he's got the money to bring back the rest of his team members, but he's got no vending machine and he's got nowhere to go. Revenant XSpark looking for that booyah, but looks like they are caught in a tight little spot now.
Let's see though. I mean, this spot might be taken. Vincent will be taken out by Raihan. And there's no saving Private Raihan right now. He's the one doing the save.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Raihan, though, getting all of his glue walls melted down by these shots. RNX looking for the booyah for themselves. 4 players strong. Flame staying out of this equation, just wanting to make sure they pull away a couple of good shots later on. As soon as RNX hops on out, they do not want any attention their way just yet. RNX knows Flame can be a danger. Look at the stack of glue walls they build towards the right. They only want to shut down Bangla Unity first and play the numbers advantage. Oh.
The booyah
Oh, well-timed push coming through here for Flame. But they have one player down on the ground. Taj just need to sort Shoko out of the equation here. And Flame do not want to play a disadvantage. They know Shoko can be dangerous. Zoic steps up. M24 gets Flame a massive booyah to open up the South Asian play-ins.
From the beginning of this match, we are seeing Flame into battle. When we thought that they were taken out early, they just planned out their approach. An element surprise from one of the compounds out of the open area of this map. And then from then on, they just carried over and grabbing all those eliminations towards the end where they got that booyah. So really looking forward to more from Flame Esports. Again, recovery is being done by this team after the previous season's failure.
Yeah, absolutely, man. I mean, if you look at Flame Esports, Neptune's second time at the Fire Max Asia Invitational, they did not get through the play-ins last time around, and they are stepping back in here, telling everyone, proving through this performance on our very first map that they're not here to play, they're here to qualify, and they're here to make their nation proud. They are here to represent South Asia in a very big way. And again, this was a massive, massive game for them through those eliminations. They have to be proud of themselves. But of course, now the problem is a little bit bigger. You got to maintain this consistency as well. There are many other hungry squads out there who want these points.
I do agree. I mean, if they will be bringing this heated up the fight from beginning of the day, then they are painting a target on the back of their head. So hopefully they stay low in the next match, because no one would really go in for this kind of performance on a continuous run. Or you don't want to go against a team who can continuously run with this kind of performance. And there you have it, a massive 20 elimination. Adding it up with the placement point is 32 points just from Flame Esports.
Yeah, but Flame Esports, as impressive as they were in that first game, I think Bangla Unity stepped in things up big time as well, right? Bangladesh overall had a really good run in here. Even the Straw Hats managing to end up on the left-hand side of our leaderboard with the 12 points to their side. But man, massive points here for Flame Esports on the very first game in itself. They're taking the fact that they only have 12 games very seriously, and this time around, I do expect to see more from them. They got eliminated in the 18th spot at the South Asia Plains the last time around. I don't think we're going to see them there this time.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, we were talking about how close these two seasons are, these two competitions are, and with that failure, I think they're still mad about it. And this is how mad they are. They are bringing the first game with a 30 bomber already. So they're investing all those points from the beginning of this game, making sure that they have enough, they give enough to qualify for the main event. And then from then on, or once they have enough, based on how they calculated the qualifier would be, then they will be slowing down, just watching every move from the team. And our MVP, and this is what I'm talking about, how well Zoic managed to utilize that Iris in this fight. A new, I don't know, something new that we're seeing out of the sniper builds of this squad.
Oh man, Zoic looking so stoic, walking in with the Iris, and it is just such an off-meta play with the Iris, right? And I've been talking about the viability of the Iris for a while now in other competitions, because these glue walls are a tad bit too tanky. In that final circle where you've got these maze of glue walls to navigate through, the Iris comes in really handy, especially when you see teams just kind of grouping up together. That's exactly what we saw in the final circle. So Flame, all they wanted to do was just get Zoic, get that information, and then they know whether or not they should act or they shouldn't. And man, he's got the Moko, he's got the Maro, he's got the Raphael, he's tagging you up, he's bleeding you out. You are not going to survive. And this is one of those squads that are actually running a double sniper setup. Even though Toki is the support player, he brings in the Riptide rhythm. He's got his Maro, he's got his Raphael, he's got the Moko. We've been talking about the meta of the snipers, and this is a team that has finally listened and said, okay, you really say this is gonna work, guys? Let's try it out. And man, looking at those numbers, it sure as hell works.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, Azoic did manage to get a lot of elimination out there, but with the help of Toki, it gets information, it gets damage as well. So the double sniper setup is working, even if we're not in Kalahari. But looking at that FP skill as well, it's more of a plan of breaking glue walls down. You have that Riptide Rhythm, you have that Valiant Dash, and if in case those glue wall has been knocked down or has been taken down already, you have that Cryo Mine from that Nero to prevent them from bringing bot up.
Bloody hell, Neptune, this is one of the best this is exactly what we were talking about on the unique active skill screen earlier on, right? This is the magic we want to see, and it is Bangladesh bringing it onto the battlefield. Look at these numbers, man. Even though Russell just one elimination, but he played his part as the grenadier of the squad. 8 assists in total. If Toki and Azoic managed to pull away such big numbers, it's because of this teamwork that they had out there. But I have to say, one of the few teams that I've seen so far really cracking down on this sniper meta, going on for a full-on forced double sniper build, and also the stats to prove that it works. They have to be proud of themselves. I asked for consistency, but I think these boys, looking at the amount of mental strength that they have in order to sit down and say, you know what, guys, yes, we're going to force this, but we have to go all out with it. We have to be confident. And then to go out there and execute it, I think it's just beautiful.
Yeah, I do agree. I mean, it's something that we were just formalizing, because for some regions, they are not adapting yet for some meta, for some of the active skills. But now, looking at how Flame Esports managed to make the adjustment, showed us how it's worked. Won't be surprised that other teams from this group would make that change already. Or probably they just hated Flame Esports that much that they will try to counter whatever they bring into the table, especially that Iris that they have. But even for most engagement, the glue wall has been a threat. Thus, those Riptide Rhythms has been reintroduced, those Valiant Dash has been used so well, and as well as the Iris being put into play. But let's take a look at the circle analysis right now as to where team started off as well as ended that fight.
Man, absolutely. And you know, Team Hind was actually having a really good spot in the earlier parts of the game, right? It's just unfortunate that in those rotations, they just had to come across Revenant XSpark, who were really dangerous. They did draw some blood out of Hind, who then tried to go through their revival stuff and then bumped into Nebula. It was a very tough journey for a lot of these Indian squads who just kept running into each other, Neptune.
Yeah, I do agree. I mean, from what we've seen earlier, there's a lot of teams who were eliminated as quickly as that. It's not that easy as well to go against from these teams that we have in this mix. And I'm just really loving that they're bringing in that fire from that first game, because we seldom see that from the early part, especially in a map like Purgatory, wherein it's wide enough that you can hunt down opponents passively, and aggression from a distance would be on point. But it doesn't matter for Flame Esports. From CQC, from long range, they don't care. They just want in to bring those numbers in this fight.
And you know, it's very important to focus on which is that region that's getting the job done there. It's Bangladesh, back to back. We saw them, you know, just topping the charts, right? It's really good. And even Straw Hats as well. Straw Hats last time round, they were the #1 squad out of Bangladesh. Therefore, they got a direct invite. This time, they have to hustle. They have to play in here at the South Asia Plains. And that's not a big disadvantage. There's a very big disadvantage for the other regions, because Straw Hats is a really good squad. They have got a big possibility of making their way into the main event, which means we've got limited spots already up there, Neptune, and we have got many promising squads who could just get there before you even know it. I mean, just one game, more than 30 points. But of course, you know, I don't want to get too excited, I guess, because then that might be too much of expectations. But this drop spot here at TV Tower, this is the kind of drama I want out of our Fire Max Asia Invitational, Neptune.
Well, let's see, though. Let's see if this is really going to happen. Because from what we've seen earlier, some of the teams really pull away from those early engagement, from those hot crops. So knowing this kind of situation in TV Tower, some of the teams will be pulling out from those engagement. Windmill is quite open. We have Waterfall. Even base side is available. Same goes with Echo Drain. And if you go in like far away from those early engagement, just onto the edge of the map itself, even before the first circle shows up, it's more chances for you to survive. But if you want to beat down Flame Esports, then go ahead, take those hot drops, get all those eliminations in the early fights. Even in the first circle, you can do it.
Absolutely, man. But of course, let's not get too excited. We know season after season, things kind of just shift around a tad bit here, right? We are gearing up for game number 2. Game number 2 is going to be at Purgatory. Are the snipers very viable at Purgatory? Absolutely. You've got tons of open spaces there. You've got a huge map to play around with. I do expect a double snipe setup to continue working for Flame Esports. But the problem here is they don't have a proven, consistent track record and a run in the competition so far. So I really like the whole adrenaline build from the very start, but I really hope they can keep this up for themselves. Let's check out the predictions that we've got though, Neptune, for this upcoming match.
Yeah, well, we are eyeing on GodLike as well as Straw Hats and Nebula Esports. Nebula Esports has a better chance because they brought in a lot of numbers earlier before they were taken down. But for GodLike, seems like their run is just a warm-up for the moment. The same goes for Straw Hats, but they did bring in 7 elimination from that earlier Purgatory. So I think they can even survive even longer and even out the playing field on that top of leaderboard.
Absolutely. Bangla Unity, RNX Esports, Team Hind, they had a very decent run, especially Bangla Unity with the number of eliminations, but it doesn't really mean that it's going to be translating into this next game as well, right? I think we saw many incidences, especially in the circle analysis just moments ago. The fact that many of these Indian squads just kept running into each other during these rotations. And I think, you know, not just for the Indian teams, in general, for everyone, you really want to be looking out for these rotations from the very earlier parts, which is why Group C has a huge blessing, Neptune. They get to spot out all of these 12 spots, where they're dropping, how they're rotating, and how to avoid them if they need to.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I'm really looking forward to how they're going to make this work right now. But we are just setting up. Really looking forward if Flame Esports can do the same thing as what they did in Purgatory, or can someone else take the reign? Because in most instances, a team can really get hyped up, just like what we seen in the first game, and then dwindle towards the end when we're talking about the Booyah Curse.
Absolutely, man. We are geared up for this next map, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. And as we head on into the one and only Solara, let's see if or not studio is going to be lit up here. Earlier, the drama was suspected to be at TV Tower, and I guess we will get a little bit of that as well.
Yeah, let's see I mean, we are already seeing a few teams eyeing on getting into TV Tower, Revenant XSpark, as well as one player from Straw Hats, but it's smart from Straw Hats though, going in for a split drop. They don't want to be taken down a little bit early in this fight. They can go in for that fight, but it's still very difficult for them to go in, to really plan an approach or an exit in this battle. But NXT going in for the fight. Flame Esports, one player already in the ground, and this might be the Booyah Curse that we're talking about.
Oh, yeah, absolutely, man. NXT just seeing if or not they can get out of the situation with as many numbers as possible. Russell's going to get caught out here if he's not careful, but it looks like it will be a squad of Flame just trying to spread out very early on and see if they can pick on some of these other squads to really increase their elimination numbers early on. Sahil Jat, though, down on the ground already. They pick up on standby. KD got taken out as well. It's Hotshot. It is the Pakistani squad stepping things up. Shoto, double vectors in hand. Leo knocked down by that Valiant dash. Shoto trying to pull things back here for the squad, but Team Hind in a lot of trouble because we've got another squad dropping by. It's RNX. It's Hotshots in front. RNX from the back. Team Hind about to get clapped if Wolvin does not get away, but the vending machine in front of him, but he doesn't have his coins, and luck just has it that there's money all around on the floor to pick up here on Solara.
Well, it's a good thing. A lot of cash would be in there, just on the ground, a lump of it, and a quick revive will be done for the squad. Our next, though, they need to deal with Nebula Esports. UAV has been released already, and Tiger in a good spot to be shut down. But it's just unfortunate going solo. You don't want to be spotted that early. Now that there's a few of the squads already into this mix, they might be starting off that battle.
Revenant XSpark time turner used up very early on. Sohan needs to wait a little bit before he engages again. MP5 uses the glue wall just to keep the Straw Hats away from him. Sohan VSS, wrong gun for a fight like this. M590 up against him. Sohan just praying and praying, but his prayers will not be answered. They have to depend now on Vincent. 700 coins in his pocket, 2 minutes in. He's got the discount. He should be able to bring one buddy back in. But Revenant XSpark, one of their players heading straight onto him. Will he survive? We'll have to wait and see. RNX, on the other hand, are not out of hot soup just yet as Nebula drops by to say hello.
Well, Nebula bringing a couple of players from this side. Only Shoko and Hassan remaining. And it's a 3v2 situation in Windmill right now. But here comes a revive being brought in. But that puts Padlu into the shots of action. And it's action from Hotshots, who's taking advantage of that situation. On the other side, in studios, Absolute Cinema is happening as GodLike's going in against NXT. And after that revive, Ash will be taken down. Echo can be revived. No one from NXT is fighting back. And this will be a full squad from GodLike. That would start this off.
Acha, this is South Asia, okay? We have got all kinds of drama, all right? We have got all kinds of TV shows, all kinds of movies, so this is exactly where all of the action should happen. About to turn into a Bollywood movie, but I think GodLike would not want that. I think they want to get into the next circle. There's a lot of loot, a lot of points on their side as well. Straw Hats up against Revenant XSpark potentially here in this situation. They do bump into each other, but it seems like that's not going to happen. They just, you know, can you sing me that song again, please, nephew?
No, I was safe earlier because I am assuming no one was listening, but
no, we were all listening. These TV rolling.
These TV rolling. They hating.
Oh yeah, we were definitely hating the tech issue. We do apologize, guys, for that little mishap earlier on. Seems like a rat bit some sort of a cable out in Antarctica, and we lost connection here. But it doesn't matter. We're back in action, and action is in action out there on the battlefield as well. M590 taking out a player from the side of Nebula. We jump all around looking for some action. And it seems like Straw Hats might just be able to find it in the RNX squad. They're driving straight in, and they want to book an appointment. RNX backing away, and Evo won't be able to get away from the shots off of Shocks that SKS finding his back, and the rest of the players off of RNX, they have to back away as quickly as possible. They use their slide rails, and they say, "Out for the vista."
Let's see though. Hassan, great timing in the glue wall, and they did manage to pull away. I thought they will be gunned down. It's just one way. It's only one angle that Straw Hats can take to take them down. But it's just unfortunate that they're not prepared for that battle, and they might be baited into this fight. So let's see if Nil69 is just a little bit too aggressive and is not really thinking that well. And as we speak, it's Toki who's making that work. This might be the bait that will work for the side of RNX. But as we look into the other side, Flame Esports, it is who?
Say who? Say who? Say who? Taz! Taz wants to know who, but Taz, you'll have to get revived before you can even do anything about who shot you. Hassan taking one more out of the equation. RNX, they brought Straw Hat straight into this three-way battle, and I thought Flame was going to take control of the situation. They were already positioned well. Toki had the sniper, M24 in his hands, but what he did not have was the speed of reaction from afar. Stroke, M24 again. The snipers are all in absolute perfection in form. But the battle between RNX and Straw Hats not over just yet. They're still waiting for their points right outside. And who drops by? Shock finds Hassan as well. Back to back here for Straw Hats, who are pulling away the points off of RNX.
Oh, my name is who? My name is what? And they're bringing in the fight right now. Let's see, though. You want to see actions? Here comes Hotshot with actions literally into the game. Now, 8 elimination already from this squad from Pakistan, and they might be meeting up with Team Hind. Team Hind, they might not be prepared on this battle, and there goes BB.S9X being caught off guard up close and personal. But from afar, this might be the trouble that is being caused against Hotshots, and actions being shot at but not taken down just yet.
I mean, great play coming through from Hotshots. They saw Team Hind rotating straight towards them on those slide rails. They quickly back away, looking for a defensive spot. In the meantime, BB.S9 taking the shots up against Hind, forcing them to play recovery, and now interfering in the battle of Hotshots as well. This is the third-party advantage that BB.S9 has got in this battle. But how will Hotshots handle the situation? Drip mine being laid out by Actions already. They're waiting for the rush coming through from Hind. Sahil Jat with the shot from afar finds one player from the side of the squad, and it looks like Hotshots will not aggress. They're gonna back away slowly from Team Hind if possible to look for those revivals.
Yeah, it's a good thing that they did back away because they don't even know where shots are coming from. M82 followed by RGS50. That would be tough even behind a glue wall. So this is what Actions is doing right now, waiting and probably listening to some sound cues. But there goes shots from the other side. It's BB.S9X. And Hotshots have been aggressive earlier. Now they are being slowed down. Actions trying to move as much as possible, not be caught off guard, and providing that destruction. But here comes Reventant XSpark joining the party, and this might be a four-team battle that we're looking at.
Oh, fantastic. Shot by Actions, Kar98. Extra point coming through for the squad of Hotshots. And I have to tell you, man, Actions has been on form. But how will they get out of the sticky situation through those revives, man? Anas doing the squad a big favor. The squad went for a split survival run, and it paid off. Hotshots is right back in it with the numbers.
Oh, let's see. No, numbers are there. But will they be able to get in position as zone will be closing in? BB.S9, a team that were being aggressed on by Hotshots, now dealing with Revenant XSpark. Arsh right now, spotted on, Riptide Rhythm, no opening. Not a good timing though with that skill.
Yeah.
But OM as well as Mags will try to go in for the push, but they both go in the same direction. Not even a pinch. And this might be an opportunity that they will be missing out against Arsh. And once again, Arsh is trying to go in for that clutch. It's just unfortunate at that moment, another one from BB.S9 joins the party, and Arsh doesn't survive.
Man, Arsh had an opportunity to jump straight through that window and continue that run. Could have gotten the 2 knocks, but of course, Deepu would have showed up as the third player right after one after the other, right? It's a handicap match, man. 3v1, trickling in one after the other like a perfect Bollywood movie. But it worked out in the favor of the Nepali squad. And BB.S9, 5 eliminations so far, and I say that's not too bad at all for a squad who's looking to climb the leaderboard in a solid way, Neptune.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, similar to what we've seen in Bangla Unity, they didn't get that much elimination as long as you have survivability. So if they can deal with this until the final circle, they might be able to add more to those numbers. But Nebula Esports, they are not going down that easily. But as I say that, here comes some players from Revenant XSpark, and there goes a payback from Spark himself. So it's just ironic that both player and team has the same spark to their name.
Amen, brother. I tell you, and you gotta love that.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, those insurance policies really paying off, and hopefully they can bring at least a full squad. I'm talking about Revenant XSpark. Only one remaining and still receiving damage for BB.S9. They are guarding that vending machine against Hotshot. Oh, Valiant, that's Riptide Rhythm as well. And there goes a takedown. It's just unfortunate. Leo was just on point, even with 2 players from BBS.
What a shot, Leo, like the flying angel of death. He dropped by M1014. Beautiful shot. One was all it took, and he got the extra point for the squad. GodLike, on the other hand, being pursued. Can they get away from their pursuers? It is Bangla Unity looking for the numbers off of GodLike. The Bangladeshi squad did very well earlier on, up against a team that has just gotten stuck with the number 4 curse for the longest of time. GodLike, if you drop the ball now, questions will be asked. You need to wrap this up in 4 eliminations, but A124 activated already. Bangla Unity have the advantage, and they're going in for the chase. Raihan, what a valiant dash. Catches Eco as well. Yogi, the only player. Bangla Unity absolutely trashes GodLike.
And that only shows that godlike can bleed. And we are seeing that happening overall. Not a team being eliminated. It's NXT. Now, the battle is getting hotter. The zone is slowly picking up. And it will eat up a lot of those HP for those trying to survive. Even Team Hind might not be able to do so. Sahil Jad healing himself. Even Nil69 going solo. It's a 1v1. And the Great One wins.
Oh, we have lost so many Indian squads so far. Straw Hats out of the equation as well. The remaining ones, oh, my man, in succession, as we watch Tiger use his medkit, we are losing more players on the battlefield, Neptune.
Oh, this is what I'm talking about. When you don't want to hang outside the blue, you will be cooked. You will be in hot soup if in case you waited for this moment, fourth phase, to get into the circle. High ground being taken by Hotshots right now, and they have a lot of points already in this battle. They're slowly catching up, and they got to eliminate another player, the solo player from Team Hind. Out of 4 teams, they have a better opportunity to win this fight unless Flame Esports beat them down and still get to that back-to-back.
I mean, Hotshots definitely elated the fact that they just took out the reigning national champs of India from this lobby. But the job's not done just yet. They've got another squad to deal with, Bangla Unity, as well as Flame, both from Bangladesh. Flame and Bangla Unity, can you believe the consistency for these two squads getting into the final circle back to back? But Bangla Unity, though, thin in those numbers. Flame will still have a big advantage for a back-to-back booyah here for themselves. Russell's going to get tagged up. Taz on that recovery as Hotshots finds themselves at the arsenal and a big advantage defensively.
Good position, but action! Catches that nade. Razzle right now, really razzling and dazzling from that shot. But a good pickup being done right now. It's a good thing that they do have that basic therapy connected to that. He can heal up. The Blues closing in, and Hotshot still not moving away from this arsenal. But they have plenty of time. We still have a lot of contenders on the other side that might beat them down. So hopefully they have the glue wall or probably a monster truck that they can use as a little bit as cover.
Oh, you gotta love the recovery off of Hotshots and the smartness of the players, that electrotherapy to recover the player that just got picked up. But Saj is now gonna get sprayed down as Hotshots goes for the rush up against Flame. They are outnumbered and they will get shut down one after the other. The squad taken out in the 4th spot, but I don't care. I love it. Hotshots showing us a version of themselves that we have not seen ever in our lives, casting for them. RNX Flame, Bangla Unity in that final circle. Can India get it done this time round, or will Flame walk away with the back-to-back booyah, or will Bangla Unity just be the third party in the battle between RNX and Flame? This is one of the most exciting final circles we've seen here in South Asia so far within the 3 seasons now.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, this is round 2 for this 3 teams because it's Flame, RNX, BU who took the top 3 spots from the earlier battle. And it is still a good chance for Flame Esports to stack up in numbers right now. They can go in perfect time against Bangla Unity. They do have the numbers advantage. And the Riptide Rhythm, will they be able to go in for the shot? There goes Shoko with a Car 98. Nades being thrown, utilities being thrown against Bangla Unity. And this is literally saving Private Raihan, who might be able to get away, but no, there goes Razzle again, a razzle-dazzle shot with an M590.
But RNX not taking advantage of all of that chaos. And now here comes all of those ice grenades to force away the Team Flame to move towards the container area instead. And RNX using that opportunity to make those rotations. Azoic is going to have a big advantage here. Level 2 M24 and the Car 98 in hand. He switches around. Adib has got the M590 charged up already, but Azoic and Taz both putting them down. Flame burning up RNX. Shoko and Arman. Taz taking the fight straight up to Arman. Shoko provides no backup. Azoic gets him. And Flame back to back booyah for Bangladesh. Abitabo Tomaki Balopasi, Bangladesh. This is the heat. This is the action. This is the excitement that we are here for, Neptune.
Yeah, really happy that there's no Booyah curse. They've forgotten about that. They're not really thinking about it. And it might have been slow from the beginning of that game, as Flame Esports are just a flicker, it's just an ember from the start of that fight. But as we see them travel, journey towards each phase of the circle, we can see that flame really rise up. And towards the end, still getting that Booyah with massive elimination.
No, I mean, this is so unbelievable, Neptune. You look at the way they move. You look at the way they strategize their way. I mean, first of all, finding the final circle, back-to-back games with such consistency is bloody mind-blowing. But finding these two games with big numbers in this South Asian lobby filled with monsters who can snuff you out, man, that's so impressive. And I've never seen Bangladesh play like this before. I am so excited to welcome Flame to this stage. This is the second time they're coming through. Last time we saw them was at 2026 Spring. You might not remember them because they played at the South Asia Play-ins and they didn't perform at all. They were in the 18th spot when we wrapped up the 3 days. They got eliminated. This time they're back and they're saying, I am about to whoop all of y'all into shape. And my name is Azoic. Man, the sniper meta is benefiting it in a very big way. And I really love his positioning. I really love the decision-making of him and the whole squad. Overall, throughout the whole game, they've been shining there.
Yeah, I'm really loving this side of Flame Esports. And I do believe that we pointed it out, or we tagged them as an underdog in this fight. And this is them pulling away from that script. They are not underdogs right now. They are becoming the big dogs. They are becoming the titans of this game. Another 30 bomber of a game coming from Flame Esports.
32 points for Flame Esports. They whacked the bomb twice in a row. I am in disbelief. And I'm so excited. I'm so happy for Bangladesh. I'm so happy for Flame Esports. And I'm so glad that they are really making their dreams come through Free Fire, right? I mean, you see these regions growing season after season, and you can't just help feel so excited and proud of them, Neptune. Although we are not playing out there, but we've been a part of the journey for all of these regions, and it's good to see them stomp out there once in a while. RNX almost pulled it back for India this time around, though, but Flame was just not having it. They said, you can try later. Now is our time to shine. And believe it or not, if Flame pulls this off again, okay, and if we were in Champion Rush by some weird chance, all right, Flame Esports would have activated Champion Rush by game number 3. How insane is that?
I do agree, and this might be a team that is being studied right now by those invited for the main event. So I don't know this is good, but from the way Flame Esports is showing, we're seeing a glimpse of some other regions in that mix, in their performance, in their rotation. So this is a team who really regretted ending up in last place from the South Asia play-ins from the previous season, and now they just use that time, that effort, that energy to bring those homework into play, and this is the result, back-to-back Booyah. But a different player, though, would be the MVP in this game number 2. We have Taj right now, 5 elimination, 22-40 on the damage, 10 assists, and he is the rusher of the squad with a Valiant Dash. Oscar, Olivia for a little bit of healing, Nikita for a fire for reload rather, and we have Joseph, so that in case there are a few debuffs, he will still be buff up.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And I really like that he's the rusher who's still playing that flex, right? They understand that, yes, they want to be aggressive, but it is also going to be important to focus on that recovery as well. He's got that Olivia. He's got the team booster on his side as well. And you really saw Flame looking for those coins in the earlier parts of the game, looking to max out their team boosters as quickly as possible, just so that they can survive some of these later rotations outside of the zone. And man, it was just executed so well from Taz and squad. Rasela, Zoic, Toki. Let's look at their lineup here. Active, passive skills. Again, Neptune, nothing has changed. They still have got the double sniper approach to the competition. And as far as they're concerned, the Oscar Nero Skyler, like you pointed out, these guys are disruptors as well as demolishers of those glue walls. And when you have such a aggressive version of Flame going out there with these combination of active skills, that final circle, there's no way in hell they get taken down easily.
Yeah, and if you remember that moment we're in, after eliminating one of the players, final player of one team, they slow down. It's that recovery out of just waiting for the cooldown to happen. And they are just saving up all those skills for that final fight. And the timing was just impeccable from this team. I'm really loving that they're adjusted so well. And I couldn't point it enough wherein that they they are mad. They are crazy enough to pull this off after being beat down. But this is great motivation. This is what a fighting spirit is, coming from this team, coming from this region, from Bangladesh. I'm really loving how it turned out.
And no doubt at all, Neptune. I mean, now 2 booyahs, back-to-back booyahs, 64 points at the top of the leaderboard. Impressive is an understatement for the squad.
Oh, yeah.
And this time around, Toki is stepping it up. As the support player of the squad, in charge of playing that Iris, he definitely knows his role out there on the battlefield, right? 1 assist because he's not playing to give the eliminations to the rest of his team members. He's the one harvesting lives out there. The ones who were getting those tags initially, though, Zoic and Taz, the ones who are rushing in at their opponents. And it's insane because of Zoic and his capability to flank around and play his position so well, Taz can bravely approach some of these big squads and not worry about his life at all.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's just great coordination as well, communication from this team, wherein you trust your teammates so well that you can go aggressive. And I'm really loving this side of Flame Esports. So I did mention earlier that they can slow down. They can just wait for the perfect opportunity to bring back that fire. But if you can do it back to back, then we are welcome to do so. But let's take a peek of circle analysis right now. From what we've seen earlier, there's a lot of change that happened onto the drop. Not so much of early engagement, but the moment they looted up, they just aim for the edge of the circle. TV Tower is one of those that is being avoided by a lot of teams. NXT even tries to pull away from TV Tower into Delta Isle, but that's just for survivability. And from what we've seen Flame Esports has done, they're just guarding the front, making sure that they will not be backstabbed and recover quickly as they end into the final circle.
Yeah, I think Flame just had a damn good run, and it was not an easy run, right? Because initially at Archway, they almost got shut down by BB.S9, who stabbed them in the back. And then as they tried to rotate out of that, they got caught mid-rotation, lost a couple of players, had to pull in those revivals, found some way to bring all of their players back, get all of the loot back. And this is a savage lobby, man. You can't make mistakes. And Flame Esports made no mistakes at all. In fact, every single move, every single decision made out there today in the 2 games have been brilliant. I mean, I'm so happy. I'm so excited for this next game. And I'm so sad, Neptune. I'm so sad because this is our last game for the day. And it feels like the day just started, man.
Yeah, I mean, it's just the excitement. It's how quick the teams manage to pull off all those elimination, all those matches right here. And it seems like it's a breeze. And also, AJ, despite of everything that's happening, we're still having fun. So you know how it is. Time flies, does, when you're having fun. And what better fun than to watch these kind of aggression, these kind of teams play free fire in the best way possible.
Absolutely, man. Times fly when you're having fun for it. Messed that one up, but it's okay. We'll try again later, okay? We'll just remember the joke. Third game coming up is going to be Kalahari. And you know, one thing we always bring up when we talk about Kalahari is the fact that the snipers are going to be doing damn well. So I wonder how a team with a double snipe, perfect setup is going to be doing on this map. But, you know, I wonder if or not they've used their manifestation juice a little bit too much. Refinery is going to see a 3-way drop. But my main important focus is always going to be on Flame. And this time up against Nebula. Nebula has a big chance to either shut them down early or serve up as points to Flame. If I was Nebula, I would get the heck out of Council Hall.
Yeah, I mean, it's tough. But Nebula from first game, they did manage to pull off a good start. But if you leave 1 or 2 players surviving for Flame Esports, you know how it is. You don't just have to make sure. You just have to make sure that all flames has been snuffed out. Otherwise, it will come ablaze, and it happens in real life as well. So if you're dealing with flame, get ready to get burned.
Oh, yeah, man. And who's got the remedy for those flames? Who's got some water to put this fire out? I don't know. But it's so fun. Isn't it so fun, guys? You guys only tuned in to the first 2 games of our South Asia Plains. We have not even gone to our main week. You better mark your calendars, okay? 3 days this week. You're already here today. So 2 days more this week, tomorrow and the day after. Next week, 4 days. The action today is nothing compared to what you're going to see for the rest of the days. Let's see what you and I think of what's going to happen in this next matchup, Neptune. Let's bring up the predictions. Revenant XSpark, Nebula, RNX. Hey, you copying everything.
Sorry, I mean, that's how I survive some of my school days. But anyways, don't do that.
That's how I pass.
For those of you. For students out there, don't do that because it's not
because
a good trait.
Then you end up like us, having a career in video games and, messing around out here on broadcast. Man, you and I are twinning on the predictions, and there's a good reason why I predicted the Indian squads, because I think they are done taking a beating from not just Bangladesh, but from everybody else out there. I think they are done running into each other out there on the battlefield, although it's a little difficult because we've got many Indian squads here. I expect these guys to wake up. Nebula still has not proven themselves out here. They got acquired. I think there's still a lot more from the squad that we have not seen. Usually when a team does get acquired, suddenly you see a burst of performance coming through from them. You saw what happened to C-Triple-G when they become Falcons. Now we want to see something like that out of Nebula.
Yeah, I do agree. I mean, Nebula still have yet to see that final circle, but I'm really loving that they are bringing in the fire from the beginning of this game. I mean, already bringing in 24 points in this fight, halfway through out of the 12 teams that we have in this mix of Group A and B, but it will be getting tougher. If Flame Esports can continue their run with that, with aggression, with all that great tactics, especially in repositioning in final moments, in those perfect moments, then I think it would be even tougher. Because so far, I did mention it before that Booyah has happened. Flame Esports, RNX, as well as Bangla Unity has 100% in the top 3 rate. Twice in a row, they ended in the top 3. So the other teams might be left behind because of that consistency.
Now, I thank you for bringing up Bangla Unity, because I was just thinking about them. That battle between Bangla Unity and GodLike. Just before that fight started, I said, GodLike, you need to win this fight. If not, many questions will be asked. But Bangla Unity, brother, what they did right after I finished saying that A124 thrill of battle got popped, and they did not allow them to get away at all. They went straight in there for the rush, and that's the kind of moves we want to see from some of these teams out here who have not really achieved much for themselves, right? The right decisions being made out there, and the right activation, the timely activation of these active skills, because clearly in that battle, it was a huge difference. GodLike instantly knew, crap, we can't do anything. We have to take a straightforward gunfight. Let's run first. Let's wait for the thrill of battle to cool off. But they could not pull that off, man. And also, that was because Bangla Unity, right after that A124 got popped, the speed of going in for that rush was just absolutely brilliant, Neptune.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that's something that has been missed by a lot of teams right here. Even if you go for knock, even if you use your utilities, it's that speed. If that movement, even preparation towards activating those skills that is needed by the team. But I guess they have it on point already. They studied enough that communication is quite well, so that they can study enough how to time those activation skills, how to move, where to move, and to make sure that you're not being third party as you go in for that push. And it takes a lot of practice. And I guess with Bangladesh's team, similar to what we've seen, the aggression coming from these teams right here, they are just seeing a lot of other regions put that into play. A lot has been fans of Southeast Asia, a lot of has been fans of other regions, even South Asia teams like those in India. So they understand what needs to be done if we see that kind of pattern showing up from their opponents. And that's just a lot of homework that has been done by the teams, a lot of mental capacity as well, other than mechanical skills.
Yeah, Sihan and Raihan from Bangla Unity. I've got my eyes on you boys. Such exciting movements out there on the battlefield. You gotta love it when a team wakes up in this way, man. Now we head on into Kalahari, where the snipers will continue to remain awake all throughout the competition, as a matter of fact, because it is their meta. But who makes the best use of it? Who gets themselves into a little bit of a pickle with a hot drop? You'll have to wait and see first. Team Hind straight towards Stone Ridge. They're gonna go in here for a split drop with KD God. We'll have to play this very carefully because Flame takes the compound right beside them at Santa Catarina, and you've got RNX at command post. So Team Hind to rotate out of their area, their only possible way might be the sub. We've got to see if or not they use those Dinoculus right.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that's a safe spot for them. But here's one thing. We were expecting Flame to head into Council Hall. It's a good thing they started off Santa Catarina, but we might be expecting them to move up north and fight with Nebula Esports. It might be a little bit late, but at least they have an opponent to deal with. But for Rezurrection X, they would be going against Revenant XSpark right now, and it's a trade-off from both sides. Let's see if they will be able to win this fight, because early games just like this, you want to get weapons, but if you don't get it, at least get a teammate to go with you. And this is Smarty being smart, making sure that he goes into the other side with another player on that Cassie as a distraction.
Okay, this is going to be an important pickup here for Smarty. He's got that Valiant Dash, but he needs to wait his time first. Zamil going in for the rush. He's the player with the Cassie, so he needs to play this one safely. I think he's going in for the vending machine play. Vincent's going to get caught up here by Smarty, that mini Uzi. And Arch as well with the support. And RZX, from almost getting wiped out, they instead wipe the floor with Revenant XSpark, and they pull in those revivals.
Bro, I mean, what I saw there is Hop Lil Bonnie. Shoot. And they are managed to get those headshots. I mean, Mini Uzi, it's rare to see that happen, but I guess they played enough to make sure that they hit those headshots quite easily. Now, BB.S9, I know we've seen, oh my goodness, one team, Straw Hats, being eliminated a little bit early. Going back to my point on BB.S9X, they have shown a lot of aggression at the beginning of this game, but towards the middle, that's where they falter. So hopefully they play it safe and find the final circle.
Yeah, man. BB.S9, 3 eliminations strong. Bayfront belongs to them for the time being. And what's the most important thing here is they get more of those coins. But Revenant XSpark not out of hot soup just yet. Here's come the players of RNX. Adib down straight. But it looked like that was all part of the plan. Just in case the rest of the players are underneath this refinery platform. But he will find absolutely nothing here. RNX just a single elimination in so far. But Flame Zoic going straight to the vending machine as it looks. What is going to be the play here? Brings Stas back in. Riptide Rhythm breaks down his defense as Zoic taken out of the equation. I guess that was a risk well played. At least the squad survives a little longer.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, do have a coin. At least it's enough for one revival, and they can reposition towards later. But if you're planning from Santa Catarina to go in for that revive, the close enough needs to be tagged by that binocular, and then that's where you see an advantage to eliminate Flame Esports from this fight. But going back to Revenant XSpark, a couple of players going in for the jump against him. Smart move coming from BB.S9. That gives them their 4th elimination and a few more contenders to deal with from the Revenant XSpark.
Flame with 1 revival. Revenant XSpark as well. Just one by one, they're trickling in. These boys need a few more coins to go 3 booyahs back to back. Revenant XSpark, though, will be tickled. The players on the side of BB.S9 dropping by to say hello. Deepu with a big mistake. Just running ahead of the rest of his team members and will be punished by the squad of Revenant XSpark. Aizen versus Sohan. This is going to be a date that he cannot miss. But up on top, though, Megs is waiting with the VSS. Gets tagged by Vincent Sohan up on top for the Punisher. What a run by Revenant X.
Oh, let's see though if this will last. Zohan will be taken down by OM, and there's no chance Zohan to be picked up. That could be a bait that they can use to make sure that they step into the open. Aizen is just waiting for the opportunity as well with N24. It's a good thing that a revive has happened, but Zohan is still going down. You don't want to drop in the same area if you have one player from the opponents that has a sniper, and Aizen might make the golden shot, and Kunal almost being taken down. Half an HP already, managed to back away.
Ah, man, these two squads are just tickling each other. GodLike about to drop by and say hello. I wonder if or not they will be able to pull away some solid points off of this. BB.S9 still distracted with Revenant XSpark here. Revenant XSpark exposed out in the open. And Nebula stopping by. Sohan taken out of the equation. Ars brings him right back in. Marco finding the BB.S9 player as anticipated. GodLike getting themselves into this fix. And that will allow Revenant XSpark to get the heck out of there because they need to get a little bit of recovery done here for Sohan.
Yeah, I mean, Zohan is just on revive, and they need to regroup. They need to get all those loots in. Now, there's a chance for them to go in for the battle. GodLike right now spread a little bit too thin, being chased down not only by BB.S9, but a backstab coming from Marco saying Polo SKS brings him down, and there goes a few more points for GodLike for the recovery run in game number 3.
Mu helping his squad survive, getting a triple revival here. GodLike, on the other hand, has to get out of this compound. And it looks like the mini launcher will get the one player from the side of GodLike to safety. Whereas Nancy stays back. He's going to be the sacrificial lamb for the squad. Playing distraction, buying a lot of time. But Nancy, looking to pull away 1 point, will be outnumbered and overwhelmed by Nebula. But the strategy worked out. Nebula stays in the compound, and the distraction allows the rest of their boys to get away. Hotshots versus Nebula. This is going to be another exciting battle.
Oh, once again, Arsenal being held by Hotshots. Didn't work well from the earlier game, but they pushed Nebula away from that area as Anas is getting a good shot onto Marco from above, from the tower. Didn't expect that to happen, and that forces Nebula Esports to back away.
Dandanaka for GodLike, as they try to rotate away. They get pelted down by bullets, and it is Hotshots who had that high ground advantage to take their players out of the equation. And that only means that GodLike now has to depend on one final survivor out there on the battlefield. How will they bring their boys back? 3 rounds in a row. We have not seen the best out of GodLike, but I do not doubt, I am very sure they'll make their recovery play. But the question is, when will they do that? In the final 3 games, or will it be on their second day of play? Eko, 100 coins, man, he's broke. Even if he finds a vending machine, he's not going to be able to do much, but he drives away from one pursuer towards potentially another. Nebula right in front of him. Echo with the fate of his squad in his hands. And the money not in his hands. It's a terrible spot to be in. And Echo out in the open! GodLike crashes out 17 points in 3 games.
Fate doesn't save you that much if you don't have money in this game to revive your teammates. And Nebula Esports understood that. They just guarded that vending machine, making sure that even with a vehicle, they will they just needs to pull away from those tracks, and then they can shut him down. Even stepping away from that vehicle just was not enough for him to try and survive. But it's just unfortunate. GodLike been eliminated. So if I'm not mistaken, they're averaging or they're getting 7 points out of that game. So they have 17 points out of 3 games. Not enough really to bring them up.
Quick math right there, Neptune.
My math is mathing right now.
Math is mathing right now. The funny thing is, the points are on the right-hand side of your screen. You pulled an uncle on me on the broadcast day. RNX XSpark in a little bit of a pickle here. One of the players about to get sprayed down. The Riptide Rhythm breaks down their defenses, but the Time Turner will still keep them on their feet. But look at this. Those glue walls being built up once again. And the players on the side of Revenant XSpark, they want to fight. Team Hind pelting them down. The battle, the civil war between the Indians kicks off once again.
Oh, let's see though if they can get as much point as possible as they got in that purgatory round, because they were taken out a little bit early in Solara. Now, as the lightning zone will be triggered, will they be pushed away from this area, or will they just wait for perfect opportunity? Team Hind, well, they need to cross over onto the next phase of the circle, otherwise they will be cooked. It is now second going to third, and it's still a stalemate in Stone Ridge. Team Hind, Revenant XSpark, but here comes RNX, who will be knocking on their doors. A third party might happen, and they're the ones capitalizing on it. No, it's Team Hind, and only one remained for Revenant XSpark. The spark might be enough right now.
Yeah, a wasted bolt maker there. Revenant XSpark calling for the lightning zone. But now Team Hind not out of the pickle just yet. RNX dropping by. Valiant dashing in. But they'll get sprayed down. Adib with a misplay. He only managed to pull Katie God away. Hassan looking for the revenge. Shoto will be taken down. Adib recovered. And this is RNX just stepping it up against Team Hind. Sahil out the final one in a 1v3. Vending machine right outside. Does the man have enough money? That's the biggest question.
Oh yeah, I mean he needs to break down at least one, and he can
One
recover. But A124 against him, he does have the A124, and it's still on cooldown. So let's see what he can do. But on the other side, it is Revenant XSpark who will be eliminated out of this fight as Team Hind tries to survive. Sahil Jad with his sliver of health remaining tries to go for the inhaler, and it's just a ring around the rosy. But RNX is sick and tired of it.
Man, Sahil Jad almost pulled that one off, waiting for that cooldown to wear off from his A124 so that he can literally jump back into the thrill of battle. He did manage to pull one revival earlier on, and that's the only thing still keeping Team Hind in this lobby. Bloody hell, 3 games in, it has not cooled off just yet. This is just as exciting as that first match that we opened things up with. Aizen with a shot from afar, Flame losing Toki, and this is not a good time to be losing players as these players are looking for that big rotation around the map.
Oh, let's see what rotation the teams is going to do right now. They're going to the fourth phases circle. Is starting to hurt. They need those inhalers. They need those boosts right now. But for Itachi, he's just regrouping for a Reza squad. But they will have BB.S9X in front of them going for the gatekeep. They do have a launch pad on them, but will they be able to land on a good spot? Pull out those glue walls in perfect timing. They need to pull it up. Otherwise, it would be GG for Rezurrection X.
RZX looking for the reposition here. They've already lined up the launcher. It's all about timing here, Neptune. And they've got those team boosters activated already, so they're not too worried. Now RZX with the rotation, they were waiting for that circle to close in a little bit first. And a brilliantly well-calculated rotation and maneuver from RZX, giving them a safe little spot. Oh, but NBE finding Itachi. It is Tiger with the AWM. Those double knocks not finding the eliminations though. So RZX definitely finding those recovery. You gotta have to cast off of the elimination feed by the looks of it.
Oh, Zito, we have Bangla Unity, Raihan with the Thompson, and he's still on the roll. And as quickly as that, they get that elimination. Not even 5 seconds. They time it quick. They time it perfectly, and they're not out just yet. But let's see how they survive the zone. Let's see how they survive the gatekeep, as well as Flame Esports having a look at everyone in this fight.
Oh man, Flame, Zoic picked up in time. Shoko up against Razel. Shoko tried to slice and dice with the sight. Razel will lose half his HP. But it looks like Nebula's dropping by to say hello. Taz will be able to shoot Swaroop out of the air. Patlu under attack. Taz has got the advantage here with the Mag 7. But he gets capped by 3 players at the same time. Riptide Rhythm. Russell takes down their defenses, but now he's stuck all alone. Flame might have just bitten off too much. They can't chew. They will choke. And Nebula takes over the situation. Russell does manage to get one. But in a 3v1 situation, that's just not going to go the way of Russell. The other players, they do have enough coins, Neptune, but getting to the vending machine! It's gonna be the challenge! Shoko taking too long. His own sweet time gets punished. Azoic looking for the revival. He gets punished by Patlu. Back-to-back action. It ain't stopping just yet.
2K coins lost from the hands of Azoic, but he did get that knock. Well, let's see though if Nebula Esports can end this right now. There's little to no chance for Flame Esports to go in for that triple booyah, but they can go for survivability. Still top 3 would be their target. Well, we still have 8 teams remaining in this fight, making it difficult. Rather, let me count. Yes, that is, I believe, 8 teams in this fight, but it might be right now. I mean, I'm pulling up Uncle right now. My
quick math is killing
not
me, bro.
working.
Now, we do apologize. Sometimes the internet connection just blurs out on our side. Oh, man, Team Hind crashing out once again. Tiger with a shot from afar. Bangla Unity this time getting pelted down by the bullets. The Indian squad's waking up. We did think that Nebula was going to step it up this time around, and they do exactly that. 13 elimination strong as they take Bangla Unity out of the equation.
Oh, let's see though. We have Rezurrection X who managed to resurrect their teams, and they are just biding their time, waiting for 3 more seconds as a zone inches towards them. Will they be able to make that flank? Will they be able to make those elimination count? But they are heading into the open right now, and Toki I guess he was tired. The rest of the squad has made a lot already, so Toki of Flame Esports just want to rest. So let's leave him be for the moment.
I mean, everybody needs a power nap once in a while, Neptune. You understand. Sometimes when age catches up, man. Anas with a beautiful AWM shot from afar. This gets knocked down by the circle here. Resurrection needs a little bit of resurrection out there by the looks of it. Riz is not going to find that. Muzamil tagged up as well. Nebula doing really well, and Hotshots with their rotations, just keeping it calm, keeping it cool, staying out of the crosshairs of Nebula, and now will sit right under them. Nebula does not have a direct angle to work these shots off. Brilliant rotation by Anas to avoid those shots, and now they only need to worry about NXT, who are across them from the battlefield.
Great shot from Sawur. The moment that opponents jump, he gets that knock with AC-80. Now, let's see if Nebula will be able to continue this roll right here. Spark with a shot on the other side against Toki, and there goes Flame Esports, not even reaching the top three that we expect. But Hotshots right now, full squad waiting for a perfect opportunity. They might be getting this Booyah this time, or it might be Nebula Esports that will deny them from that fight. 16 elimination, and adding to that 2 more onto the other side, and this might be NXT who's going down next.
Absolutely, man. NXT has got no choice here whatsoever. They'll have to lose their lives unless they pull off a miraculous play. That's just not going to be possible. Patlu with the double elimination, double grenade follow up, and now Hotshots just using the timely rush, but the Valiant Dash will be wasted, and they have to eat a grenade instead. Very close to the circle, but now Hotshots will have the advantage as the circle moves their way. Sergeant with a woodpecker shot from afar finds the head. Swaroop's going to be in danger. Action, Strogon looking for the shot, but those glue walls pulled up perfectly. Swaroop breaking down the defense with his own Valiant Dash, but will be able to get away before Actions can take action out of that.
Spark has been revived. Now it's a 4v4 situation, and that was just Waruf trying to dance around the team of Hotshots, forcing them to chase him as a revive has been pulled off. Now, a reset is going to happen. A shift of the circle, and both teams is in a standstill. We have Tiger, who might be able to get a clear shot against Actions, as well as one, but it's just a trade. Let's see who's going to go for the push, and Patlu is the one going down. It's Sajid who's making it work for Hotshots right now, and they are aiming for the Booyah, but NBE is not out just yet.
Spark one more. Can he get it? Yes, he can. Spark with the double. The survival play for the Nebula player. Keeping the numbers on the side of India. Can they find the final shot? Anas with the AWM won't be able to do anything. Nebula, as we requested, in fact, as we demanded, step up on the 3rd game for India.
Oh, definitely they will be stepping up from the 6th spot and above. There's a lot of teams who is aiming for that Booyah, but Nebula made it work. And I guess it does help them that Flame Esports didn't jump to where they initially intended to, making them recover quite well and also rack up a lot of those elimination until that final moment. But I'm really loving that Swaroop was just on point with the movement as well as the shots, because he's one of the saviors when I guess it's Spark who were knocked down, and if it wasn't for Spark, they won't be able to land that final shot. So it's just a trend that is happening, and Nebula Esports right now made it work.
I see some trash talk coming through to Nebula Esports from the comment section, man. Some of them saying that, yeah, it's an easy lobby. Man, you should try to play in this lobby before you talk about this lobby. Because, Neptune, you and I, past 5+ years, we've watched a lot of professional Free Fire games played. And I can tell you, these teams are not getting lucky, right? These are not just, one team rotating and, by just one wild luck they find an elimination. These are well-planned, well-timed rotations, executions, and Nebula Esports was, they were desperate for the recovery after letting themselves down the first 2 games. It's not like they didn't pull away any points at all, but it's just not what they were looking for. They were looking for the Booyah. They were looking to dominate at the top of the leaderboard, and this is the game that gets them right back into the conversation. For me, it feels like the end of the day, because it's the end of my cast, right, at the end of the game 3. But for Nebula, they've got 3 more games to go. They've still got a big opportunity in front of them to climb over the Bangladeshi squads who had already stomped the grounds earlier on.
Yeah, I do agree. I mean, when they were GG Instincts before they were acquired by Nebula, they really were showing this kind of aggression overall. It's just the consistency that we need to find from them. But it's a good thing that they started this slow because they have a good chance of finding their rhythm. They find their rotation quite well, and you can even see that in the final moment against Hotshots. They backed away in the perfect timing, and then they positioned themselves, despite of Hotshots being aggressive from a distance, they position themselves that they can bait them in and get this booyah.
Man, don't look at GodLike, okay? Everybody don't look at GodLike, look at Nebula. 34 points for Nebula, 22 eliminations, 12 placement points off of that booyah. This was one heck of a good game, and they set the record right there. I mean, we have just been getting 30 bombers back to back to back. I mean, how amazing, how exciting is this lobby? Hotshots with their recovery play here with the 20 as well. RNX stepping it up. RZX, although they got eliminated with not too many eliminations on their, too many points on their side, they still did have a decent run towards these final few circles, which is fantastic for them. Flame could not walk away with the booyah this time round. Here in Kalahari, towards that final circle, it was just way too open. These rotations were getting cut down by Hotshots, by RNX, Nebula within that final circle net.
Yeah, I mean, that's one tough thing about Kalahari, because you don't have that much of hiding space, and you have plenty of snipers already waiting for you. So even if you have the hook guns, even if you have the vehicle, we've seen that earlier from Team Hind, even if you have those launch pad, you can still be targeted. But Swaroop, as a rusher of the squad wearing an AC-80, it just shows that they're adapting to the meta right now. Up close and personal, he does have an M590, if not a Mag 7, but 8 elimination, 4,600 on a damage, and assist of 7. And Valiant Dash, JB, Joseph, Nikita, and that was very crucial to have that Joseph, especially as everyone is trying to pull off that A124 in these fights.
Swaroop basically means true essence or inherent nature. This guy is the inherent nature of a rusher. You look at his active skills, look at his passive skills. He's built like a tank with the J-Beams and Joseph, and the Valiant Dash on his side just makes him so unpredictable out there on the battlefield. He's got the Nikita as well to slow down your recovery, and on top of that, just make sure he's always on the ball with those reloads, right? The Oscar A124 Chrono Mars. This looks like a very balanced lineup of active skills on the side of Nebula. They clearly were not looking to be very aggressive, but if in case they do get into a battle, that A124 is what is going to be their clutch to get out of that sticky situation. And I feel like Patlu executed the timings of the thrill of battle very well in this game now.
Yeah, I do agree. I mean, what I'm seeing out this is you have Tiger who goes in for a flank, get information. The moment that they have that information, we have both Swaroop and Patlu who gets in the front line. If in case they need a little bit help, there's Spark who can save them. But in most instances, when the timing of that A124 together with a Valiant Dash has been put into play by Nebula Esports, there's really no need for that time turner. It's more of the recovery after they go in and win that fight.
Oh, yeah, absolutely, man. And it's actually very funny because Patlu is usually what you call people when you want to say they're thin, they're wise, they're clever. And he's definitely one of those guys who's calling the shots in those fights, right? Because as the player that's playing that A124, you definitely need to let the rest of your team members know what's the timing for the rushes. And this guy definitely had the brains for it. 5 eliminations out of Patlu, 8 for Swaroop, 4 for Tiger, 5 for Spark. Man, they were having fun in this game, Neptune. Everybody throwing in their efforts. And of course, the biggest damage coming out of Swaroop, the sniper of the squad, 7 assists, 11 knockouts. He had a grand game this time round to play recovery for Nebula.
Yeah, I do agree. I mean, there's a lot of battle that they encountered in there from their drop to the northern east start of the map, and we're going to see that in a bit as well. So rotation of how well Nebula managed to play it this time around. So they drop into Council Hall, or confinement rather. They could have meet up with Hotshots. They tried to go for the chase, but they were a little bit slow. But on their approach, though, that's where they saw most of the teams in their path. And they haven't even gotten in the center of circle. There's a lot of elimination already being brought in by Nebula Esports.
It's crazy, man, because remember we were saying Nebula should not drop at Council Hall because that's where Flame was thinking of going. And Flame just changed their mind. They went towards, I think, Mammoth or the sub, but either way, they didn't go and hunt down Nebula. And can you imagine what would have happened to Nebula in this game if that initial encounter had happened? I mean, no way of telling how that could have gone. We would have to go into the multiverse of Free Fire to find that out. But either way, it was a great recovery game for them. In every circle, they had some action. In every circle, they had some numbers to pick up, which gave them, which gifted them the 34 bomber. This is what we want, Neptune. And I'm so happy to see that nobody's dropping the ball. I mean, granted, we've got teams who are not really picking up a lot of points down at the bottom, but I've got faith in those teams, right? Who are these teams? You're talking about teams like GodLike. You're talking about teams like Revenant XSpark. I mean, they can find the spark just like that and climb the leaderboard. I'm not too worried at all. We've got 12 games at the end of the day for them to find the qualifier.
Yeah, hopefully in this part of the competition we're in, there's plenty of information to gather. In the first half, there's still a lot that they can do, and this is just a warm-up for them. So the second half might be where they pop off, and the gap is not that far from the rest of the squad. So hopefully they will be able to recover, because Flame Esports, as well as Nebula Esports, is trying to run away with it on the top of the world.
Absolutely, man. Neptune, it has been an absolute pleasure casting these first 2.5 games with you. 2.25 games with you. But I'm very sad. Neptune and I will have to sign off now. But we do promise you we've got even better talents coming to the desk in a little bit. We've got Crips and Lucifer jumping on to take our spots for the final 3 games of the day, Nep.
Yeah, we're going to go for a quick break. When we return, the battle continues in this fight. So make sure that you follow and make sure that you don't go away, because we'll be right back for more Free Fire action. Oh, probably not yet.
Oh, but okay, all right. Sometimes we just want to take a break, man. But it looks like, just like the teams out there, Neptune, who don't want to take a break just yet, we've got a few more minutes to clock in here as well. You know, one of the things that I've actually been very surprised about is the fact that Straw Hats, a team that was invited directly to our main week last time round at Spring, they, of course, did not become champions of Nepal this time around. They had to play the play-ins, and they're not really waking up in the competition just yet. I'm wondering if or not we're going to see a little bit more from them, and overall more from the Nepali squads. We'll have to find out after a quick short break. This time it's a serious one. Crips and Lucifer will welcome you guys later on. We'll catch you guys tomorrow.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Fire Max Asia Invitational 2026 summer. We've already seen some fantastic games with full heat and full blast, and I'm excited to see what the rest of the day holds for us. My name is Crips. With me, we have Lucifer, and we will be your casters for the rest of the day.
I'm super excited for this one, Crips. We just saw what the first 3 games brought us, right? With the Bangladeshi teams right at the gate functioning in that manner, I think that shows us a point that South Asian teams are now hunting for that crown that we've been talking about. 2 iterations of FFMAI, 25-26 spring that we had, now summer. I think it's finally time for the South Asian teams to kind of go in that direction. And the Bangladeshi teams, I think even when we were doing spring, right, they were hot red. They were looking good. And this time they've refined and they're moving in the matrices in the right direction.
Exactly. Like in the previous season when we were doing the spring FFMAI, the Bangladeshi teams look like they have the firepower, right? Like they were getting some really good fights. They were getting some amazing squad vibes, but they just couldn't put that cherry on top of the cake. They couldn't finish out the games, which gave them the big numbers and the big points. This time, it looks like they have really refined their strategies so that they've finished off their fight very quickly off, and before they can, even invite any third-party team, the fight's already done. They've already reset. So let's see how they can perform in this particular map, because we will be looking at the preferred drop spots in just a second. And as you already know, this map, Next Era, happens to be the map which often sees the most amount of eliminations. So with these Bangladeshi teams really feeling the heat, I think it's going to be super exciting to see how many eliminations they can rack up.
Yeah, let's take a look at it, and especially Plazaria being overcrowded than general that we would kind of expect. Deca Square, maybe we would see a clash, but there it's only Straw Hats. Godlike, Flame, Hotshot, and Rezurrection, 4 of the 12 squads all there. Farmtopia, RNX, as well as Team Hind, and it seems like Intellect Center for the time being, at least on the preferred drop spots, Crips not being contested, but we know, especially using the zips, they're going to be very quick. They're going to try and jump in that direction. But one thing I think maybe teams could be okay with, or one team who'll be okay with in their position, is going to be Bangla Unity, who've also looked good. I think, as we already said, Flame, yes, back-to-back booyah. There could have been a triple, but unfortunate, those fights happening in Kalahari. And yeah, the grappling hook gives an opportunity of the verticality jumps that teams used on Kalahari and moved in the direction where Flame didn't catch up in action. However, with Flame's loss on Kalahari, the Indian squads are now functioning. They found their booyah. Nebula is in that direction. We've called them as the troublemakers in FFMAI 2026 spring. And now they've started off with the booyah, while the other Indian teams are still struggling.
In fact, I'm glad that you brought it up. I'm glad that you brought up that they were the troublemakers, because they basically denied GodLike the India Cup Championship, right? They basically denied the trophy to them. And even though their team was very balanced, people were doubting the addition of Spark in their team. I mean, to get rid of an experienced player and get in a complete newbie like Spark, I tried looking him up. I did not find much data about him. So for him to join this team, especially for an Asia Invitational, not even trying him out during the India Cup itself is a big risk. And I'm glad that it's paying off, because I think he was the one responsible for getting his team the booyah in the previous game.
Indeed, I think with Spark bringing that essence for Nebula Esports, let's take a look at what we've predicted for this ongoing game. That's going to be Next Era, and I can see predictions from you at RNX, Team Hind, and Flame Esports. 2 names in synonymous that we've predicted is going to be Flame and RNX. And on the other end, I feel like Hotshot, because compared to the spring run, right, Hotshots had, yes, they were invited there, but right as now, Actions looks in good form with his teammates. In spring, it was him all alone finding those eliminations. It was getting tough. It was a big burden for him to bear. But right now, it seems his teammates are giving him enough energy that they need to find a lot more eliminations in total.
I need to disagree over here. I think only Anas has stepped up so far. The remaining 2 still need to prove their worth. I mean, they've been rotating really well. Yeah, their macro game is really good. But when it comes to the micro, like, double peeking together or just trading each other out, I feel like Action and Anas are in good sync. But the other 2 teammates, I don't think that they are just on that level yet. Maybe it's just a bad day, but yep, you're right. There definitely has been an improvement in this team, because Actions doesn't have to lift all the weight alone as of now. So that, I think, is a very good opportunity. However, I kind of feel like they are not the only team that's not in full sync. I want to talk about RNX, because they managed to get to the 2nd place twice. And both the times they lost only against the same team. They lost to Flames Esports. Now, the fact that you can get into the top 2 with all 4 of your players alive, which means your macro game, your overall decision making is spot on. But in the final fight where it matters the most, if your micro falls apart, if you can't peak alongside with each other and you can't provide each other backup, then that's a big problem. And if you don't fix that, you will just be stuck on the second place again and again and again while Flame continues to run away with the booyahs.
I think that's what is happening to majority of the squads in the South Asia Plains. Comparing it to Spring, right? I'm a tad bit surprised to see teams kind of having trouble, whereas in the South Asia Plains in Spring, every team was functioning. There were everybody fighting for that top 8 position. There was not one team that we could exclude. Yes, there were maps and games where teams did have bad days and bad games. However, that was not a continuation till the very end. But right as now in summer, and I think Neptune, as rightfully as he opened, he mentioned it's going to be a boom, and it has been. It's been a boom, a kaplav to many of the teams who've not been used to this lobby, or not been, maybe I would say that they've been keeping their toes matching with these other players. And that is one of the reasons everybody else is running ahead of this race. If this is a 100 meters race, at least 80 meters is kind of from the top 4 teams covered so far, and everybody else is still figuring out the catch up. But in Kalahari, most of them moved in that direction. They've understood. Now that we move to game number 4, halfway done, this is a new start, a new comeback, but it's on Nextera, which enables the highest of eliminations.
Let's go, ladies and gentlemen. The most aggressive map of the day is here on your screens. Put it together for game number 4, Nextera. The plane path starts right between Rustown and Mudside and goes all the way up towards Museum. I'm expecting some hot drops over here in Decker Square because I see BB.S9 and Straw Hats heading in the direction. But wait a second, Straw Hats actually are going for a split drop. They will send a couple of their players to Boxing Gym, and the others are going towards the Arsenal right next to Boxing Gym. GodLike surprisingly uncontested in Decker Square. I really expected somebody else to fight them alongside the GodLike players in Decker Square, but okay, I guess that won't be happening now. But I already see some bullets flying in mud sites. It's BB.S9 alongside, if I'm not wrong, Hotshot. We will find out later who they are. But for now, in Farmtopia, we got RNX taking on Straw Hats. And RNX have been looking for their booyah. I hope they don't get eliminated very early on over here. Otherwise, it would be a very, very disappointing start.
Shoko trying to make a quick run. They kind of spotted Rasil and wanted to go for the elimination, and Toki took that advantage. That is trouble now. And RNX, you were just talking about them, that they're trying to look forward to their booyah. They've made it to the top of the game in the initial start. But as of now, they failed again. Another opportunity lost. But on the other end, you mentioned this. BB.S9X Esports fighting with Hotshots at Mudside. It seems like Hotshots, they've found the opening with one elimination. But the players from BB.S9X, they're running around, making sure that they don't give a clear angle for this fight head on.
Oh my goodness. Hotshots, can they actually keep up with this one? It seems like they know where their opponents are, and they've arrived just in time to make this one happen, but I think they've missed out on the third-party advantage. They've given enough time for their opponents to reset, and Straw Hats should be good enough for the time being. It is obviously a very unfortunate loss for RNX. They were doing really well up until now, but this early elimination means that the Bangladeshi teams can surge ahead uncontested. Unless Hotshot can do something about it. They've already given away their position. The first few shots that they fired did not really land their mark. Meanwhile, in Mudside, you have a third-party situation developing yet again. Straw Hats are now fighting BB.S9, and you go there. Shocked and Who, both of them getting an elimination each. BB.S9 suffering some early losses, but luckily they've got the vending machine control, so Aizen can just put his teammates back in life. Oh, he just runs right past him across the door, and he's like, okay, cool, you go ahead. I'm going to go back to the vending machine. I know Straw Hats are going to try to res again, but Nil, he captures the vending machine and takes down Aizen. He's in control of this POI for now.
The shorties have been not working. The M1887 trying to find value over there, and BB.S9 had an opportunity to fight it out. We spoke about it as well, but Mudside cleared out. Straw Hats had this opportunity. They pick up the elimination. It seems like Rezurrection the losses that RNX faced, there seems to be right now a convergence that's happening with Flame as well as Rezurrection fighting out with each other in that same position. And it seems like Flame, they're the ones who are picking it up. Muzamil, that's another elimination. And Rezurrection, while they want to recover here at Plazaria, the players are scattered all across the place. Whereas Flame Esports, they are playing together. Itachi in trouble. He's at the position where Rasil was initially knocked, but they did recover him. And now what does Itachi do? His teammates are far, nobody to cover, and if Flame have an opportunity of a launch pad and make a jump here, it could be them finding this opening, not Itachi.
Yeah, but for now, Itachi has already given away the position and they don't even need the launch pad. They find the opportunity anyway, and that's another free elimination. They also see Marco flying in towards this exact spot, so maybe another piece of meat on the menu for them. But we'll see whether or not he actually gets taken down. Meanwhile, Revenant XSpark fighting off against NXT. The time runner deployed really well. Sohan wins the close range duel. The rest of his teammates are not anywhere close, and NXT are in quite a lot of trouble. Meanwhile, you have another team, NXT, that could take advantage of. Revenant XSpark have lost Arsh, and that was not against NXT. So Revenant XSpark really need to reconsider their choices about how split they are, because Vincent can provide them cover from on top, but if they extend too far ahead, then Sohan and Kunal will be on their own.
Revenant XSpark, while we saw them in spring, there's been a change in lineup, and it seems like that lineup has not given them complete value as of now. Vincent, that's okay, a little bit of a topple. Thankfully, there was no opponent to completely topple you out, but right now, GodLike, they have a opportunity that they are losing. That's going to be a fight against Flame, and Flame have been looking really good in every fight they've been taking. And if this continues, it could be another team being wiped by Flame Esports. Players are being spotted. They're keeping that control as Arsenal being their stronghold, and it's working out. But Taj, he's a little further away from his teammates. While his teammates are taking the bridge across, it seems like Taj is just buying time for them. They make the run across, and Echo does try to spot that out, but the teammates who are taking the bridge course, they've been also spotted. Toki, big damage done on him. Lightning zone as well, and Nancy will not spare him. That is an elimination grabbed, and GodLike finally start making sure that the opponents pay for the damage they did.
Yeah, but can they make them pay enough? Can they collect enough tax to make up for the lost opportunities in the first three games rather, because even the previous game was not that good for GodLike Esports. Even Revenant XSpark are trying to climb up the ranks by getting eliminations. Oh my god, now they're fighting against Bangla Unity. Arsh deploys the time turn yet again, dashes right past, hoping to break the ankles of Beerus, but Hunter comes in for the backup. Arsh and Sohan get a knock each, but Arsh loses his life, and now Vincent has to be super sneaky up top over here by using the Morse. Hopefully they won't check this angle. He's got quite a lot of distance between him and his opponents. And yeah, he can tank the fall damage. There's a recall tower right around the corner. So I think Revenant XSpark are good for now. But there was a moment where I was concerned because Revenant XSpark were fighting NXT and Bangla Unity, and they were also taking shots against the Flame Esports members. So that's way too much heat to handle at once.
Yeah, but on the other hand, what just happened? Nebula seems like they found a team who was very successful in right now next era, and it seems like they're out. That is going to be unfortunate for Flame. Another game where they don't get to the top 4, nor even an opportunity of a booyah. And Nebula will be happy because now they're closing the gap. That's what they wanted. They're a total of 62 points. If they manage to get that 30-pointer now, just like how they pulled off in the previous game, they should be able to take the tabletop position for themselves. On the other end, the zones moved a tad bit eastern towards the edges of Rustown. And Rezurrection, have they managed to play that out well? They've always been, even in the previous game, we managed to see that they've been playing at the edges of the zone, tanking the damage, and they've been mostly okay with it. But that has not found them a lot of success towards the top 4, rather only eliminations. Same goes for the case of BB.S9X Esports. What do they do different? They've still at Mudside, the fight with Straw Hats. It seems like it's died down, but both the teams are still around and in the corners.
Ooh, we'll win. You can see that the temptation is just calling out his name. He's trying to use the glue wall boost to climb up on top of that roof so he can have angles onto RZX. Meanwhile, whether or not they get those angles is not a concern, but can Swaroop get this vending machine in time? Yes, he can. Gets the res onto Patlu and Spark before he gets chased down by his opponents. And they are hot on his heels. Bangla Unity really want this elimination. They want it before anyone else can steal it away from them. But they're afraid to peek around the corner. Nade on the left side while Hunter jumps on the right. Sihan right along with him. They work in tandem to take down to take down Swaroop. But yeah, before Swaroop went down, he rezzed 2 of his teammates. So Nebula Esports aren't out of this just yet.
Not yet. Nebula did have a little bit of a casualty, but still managed to somehow recover. On the other end, can NXT do it? Hotshots on top of them, trying to fight it out. Wild Fox with the chrono being used, but it's not going to help. It's going to be an exchange only, but it seems like there is. Hemu, as that captain, comes into play, provides cover fire, and it works out now. Hotshots, they're in trouble. They've lost the players in the blink of an eye, and Ash is on the other edge of the roof. One player, that's going to be Sajid. Can he do something different? Thankfully, it seems like one of his teammates are in the other direction, so there should be an opportunity for a revive for Hotshots as well. But Team Hind, now they're closing in the gap on their Indian counterparts. That is going to be Revenant XSpark. And Revenant XSpark have not had a great start from the very beginning. They've just been clashing with different teams, and that's what happens again. KD God finds the opening with the help of Shoto, and they all move in. Ursh picking up those eliminations. Bulvin will make sure that there will be no opportunity that Ursh tries to trade it out and shuts Revenant XSpark down.
Wow, that was a really fast squad wipe by Team Hind. I don't think I've seen such a clean squad wipe from them ever before. In fact, the one player they lost, that was the guy who was supposed to take the hits. He was supposed to be the guy that is always taking the most amount of risk. And he gets rezzed instantly because Team Hind did not even commit all of their players to that fight. They were fighting a 3v4. They had a numbers disadvantage against Revenant XSpark, and they still win that battle. And now look at them. They have absolutely no remorse, no mercy. They don't even let Itachi land on the ground before they pluck him from the skies. And Team Hind, up at 12 eliminations, are farming this lobby. Let's see how many more rewards can they reap, because the only seeds that they have sown so far are the seeds of violence.
Yeah, so far it's been Hind, and 10 eliminations, make it 12. They grab the last one and it pushes them even further. This is going to be them finally popping off. An expectation that is being set by the Indian champs should be something that they deliver like this. And KD God goes in for another Ash, completely unexpected, bamboozled. And NXT were thinking that we've cleared the position. Nobody's going to be here at the play zone trying to take a hit on us. But surprise, surprise, Team Hind, they've decided all guns are out in this game. They finally understood the lobby. It seems like this is a similar performance they delivered in Spring. They took some time to understand, and from there on decided to head ahead in the total standings. But as of now, while that fight has concluded, BB.S9X Esports, the fight continues. Mudside, they might have cleared it, moved it towards this broken bridge, but it's not done. Straw Hat still in front of them. A lightning zone being called, and it is trouble here for BB.S9X Esports. They have not found value, not much in terms of points. As you can see, they're at the 9th spot, right at the very edge of the top 8. But today is day 1. That is not at all a position you want to be in.
Yeah, you need to get like at least 50 points on day 1 if you want to stand a chance of qualifying on day 2 as well. So yeah, it's not just them. Anyone below the 6th place, anyone below Hotshots right now is going to be in danger if they do not step up. BB.S9 have been getting into a lot of these fights, but they've not really acquired a lot of eliminations. Now finally they take a more passive approach by hugging the western wall of the circle. Hotshots are doing something similar. They're hugging the southwestern wall, just a little outside of Boxing Gym, just few steps away from GodLike Esports. But hold up, GodLike already takes shots at BB.S9, and at the same time, they know that Hotshots can target them at any given moment. So GodLike really need to put some long-range pressure onto both these teams if they want to maintain their space. Because if any of them close in the distance, it would be trouble. And just as I say that, Lucifer, Hotshots try to close in the distance. Marco takes down Leo. BB.S9, they're also shooting at Hotshots. They take down one more player from Hotshots and make it easier for GodLike. Anas is the only one that crosses through. But will GodLike jump down onto the lower floor to hunt him down? That's the big question here.
It is. Right as now, Hotshots, this doesn't seem like an approach they thought would work out completely in their favor. They kind of gambled upon this position and play. They thought maybe they could take down GodLike, but GodLike, always in a stronghold, have been able to hold themselves up. The last man who was prone will be finally sorted out as well, and that is going to be Hotshots who will be put to rest. And this is going to be good for the viewers and the fans of GodLike, because this game, they've picked up 9 eliminations. They've not at all been having good games so far, but game number 4 seems like it could work out. However, a little bit of a hit that BB.S9 took pushes GodLike to a little bit of a cautionary stance, because if they mess up right now after getting 9 eliminations, it could be problem. Next era is where you want to make a comeback. We spoke about it. Eliminations across the board, but elimination is something KD God doesn't stop on. He picks one more. This guy is unbelievable at this point, and this is the elimination. KD God, I'm not sure how he found this. This man was prone. Oh, now we see. Wait, what? Okay, they get the hit. Nebula Esports putting an end to a couple of players of Straw Hats. I think there was one more player from Straw Hats who was picked up by KD God from Team Hind.
Yeah, but Straw Hats still have the 3 players alive, so I think it's fine. The bigger problem here is going to be NXT, because you have Sabo hiding right underneath the noses of BB.S9. Oh my god, RZX almost losing all their players. That nade was amazing. Sahil Jat, he's been known to throw some really good nades. Maybe he says Kobe before he throws it. Or, I mean, you know, given his Indian origin, he probably says Sachin, let's be honest. Smarty discovered behind that blue wall. Freeze bombs being thrown at him already. And while Team Hind want to eliminate him, they want to look at the bigger picture as well. They realize that if they just focus too much on Smarty, they will lose out on the opportunity to get that zone, get that compound. So they leave him to his devices and they take the petrol pump house. Meanwhile, BB.S9 also gets eliminated courtesy of GodLike and their lovely AWMs. Another team, Straw Hats, fighting the dust. These teams are falling like flies. Bangla Unity can be the only bastion of Bangladesh right now.
Bangladesh, they started off super strong, but right as now it seems like they are in trouble. Bangla Unity, can they turn things around? They've managed to try and get closer, but it's not been the best so far. At least from game number 3, we've seen a dip. But GodLike on the other end, the Indian side of things have been looking after Nebula picking up points for themselves. The Indian teams have now risen up to the ranks, deciding that we also need to do it. Nebula alone can't be the decision makers of the lobby. GodLike Echo finds an opening on Bangla Unity's player. But that's just a knock. Do they make a push? On the other end, Nebula have conquered the same petrol pump that you were mentioning that Hind have control over. Another knock that Nancy deals, and this time it is going to be a conversion. Elimination grabbed quick, and that means Bangla Unity are going to be now deprived of numbers in terms of teammates. It could be an advantage for GodLike, but GodLike need to make a move. Where is the circle? They still have control of it, and that is the reason GodLike are holding the position rather than moving in for a fight.
Yeah, GodLike at least have been blessed by the zone, but I can't say the same for Team Hind and Swaroop. Oh my god, Wolvin ready with a shotgun. Shoto also lets it rip the moment they cross into the window. Patlu is the only one making somewhat of an impact, but he also has been dealt with. And this Tiger will not roar anymore. The last elimination will be stolen away from Nebula Esports, but they're more than happy with that because it actually takes some pressure off of their shoulders and lets them reset.
Reset. Bangla Unity with that pick off on the Nebula player, they would be a tad bit happy, but they have been rattled with abilities one after another. Nero Plushie will give away their position and Team Hind will decide to make a move in. Wolvin is gone ahead, but the nade coming in from Yogi will put him down. Shoto now in trouble because he cannot make a run. He's the last one surviving. GodLike have him surrounded, but look at Echo. He is charging in against the players of Bangla Unity. GodLike fighting a two-winded fight in 2 different directions. Finally put an end to Team Hind, and now they have an opportunity, and this is going to be a big one. It's a 4v2. Yogi already closed the distance at the window, making sure Hunter and Ryan are going to be surrounded, cornered, and there is nowhere to go as the zone is also closing in. Echo goes in, Hunter's damage, Ryan now all in trouble, and Yogi leading by example gets this booyah for GodLike.
These gods have bled. The faith of this team has been shaken, and while everybody doubted them, while they were lacking in points, they finally wake up from their slumber and prove why there is a god in their name as they split up in the most magnificent and the most graceful way possible to literally manhandle this lobby and take the booyah with an iron grip. Amazing split push from GodLike Esports towards the end. Yes, they were blessed by the circle just a tad bit, but to turn that advantage into a booyah requires skill. It requires some bold decision making, and that 2-2 split helped them get that bold decision.
Oh, I was a tad bit worried, to be honest, in that move, but I think this is where it worked out for GodLike, because Team Hind and Nebula were fighting against each other. They ended up losing players on either end, and then Nebula was wiped out. Hind did not have enough time as the zone was closing in. They had to be okay with their losses and move ahead, and they tried that out. It did not work out because the zone was fast and closing. And Bangla Unity with their position already compromised, and GodLike did not even give them an inch out of this compound that they could get out on, and Echo was right at their faces. Yogi completely trapping them, and finally Yogi only decides as soon as the last player makes a jump, and Ryan will be put to rest with GodLike grabbing a booyah. And this is what we always talk about GodLike. They might not start strong, but they find their way to the throne once again.
Yup, GodLike find their way to the throne once again. But then again, the throne is meant for kings. what is a king to a god? And what's a god to a non-believer? That's the question that needs to be asked, because GodLike, they might have just won this particular game, but I cannot say that they've been consistent so far. And while this will help them get out of the bottom of the barrel, it doesn't put them anywhere close to the top, and they will still have to claw their way into the top 8 if they want to stand a chance.
Yeah, this is just the start. As you also mentioned, they have to put every nook and cranny nail down, and they need to make sure they climb up the ranks as fast as possible, and especially pulling off a 30 bomber. And so far, all the games that we've witnessed from the very start, game number 1 till now game number 4, every team has managed to acquire minimum of 30 points, and that still stands continuing in fashion. 31 points for GodLike, 19 eliminations with Team Hind. They were supposed to be the ones who could have had an opportunity to pull off even a bigger booyah. Unfortunate, the zone was closing and they had a fight and an obstacle of one end Nebula, on the other end Bangla Unity. But you have to give credits to Bangla Unity. They make it to the top 3 as well with a total of 19 points. Nebula fall a tad bit short. They had an opportunity to get towards the basis of top 1 after Flame going out with only 8 points in this game. However, RNX, I think that's the biggest disappointment here, Crips, that we both had them in our predictions, but they did not even get a slight nudge here on Nextera.
Yeah, a complete crash out for RNX over here after they've been doing really well in the first 3 games. Even Flame Esports, for that matter, they crashed out a bit early, but they don't need to worry. They're literally sitting on top, and there's quite a lot of buffer between them and the second place team. And even when they went out quite early, 8 eliminations is nothing to scoff at, right? They are still much better off than a lot of other teams who are already in the top 6. That being said, though, Team Hind and GodLike, this was an important game for both of them, because now they can finally start climbing their way up. At least Team Hind was in the upper half of the score table before this game, and now they will take a jump above into the top 3. So now they're almost tied up with Nebula Esports. And there's still quite a lot of gap between Team Hind and Bangla Unity, because, you know, they're at 72 and Bangla Unity at 63. But then the point difference between Bangla Unity and RNX was minimal before this game. And now look at the staggering difference. RNX are 9 points behind Bangla Unity simply because they had one bad game. That shows you how brutal this lobby is. Even Hotshot Esports, they've been having some average games so far. And I think they are at the most neutral position right now. True neutral at 53 points and at the center of the table. But GodLike, they needed a booyah just to get into the 7th spot. They shouldn't be struggling so much, even if they're winning games.
As you said, yes, how tough this lobby has been on every player, but finally somebody stands tall to it, and it has to be Nancy, right? We know this man from far too long. He's been doing this for GodLike, and I think somewhere it has to start for GodLike, and he's the one who rallies the whole front, and then Yogi gets full confidence. That is where GodLike comes together as a squad. 6 eliminations in his name, but the damage is what it speaks. 4,456 coming in his play. And on top of it, him having a KC, now again playing for survivability, plus with the Thiva and Nikita with him to just make sure that one end he's going to quickly revive his teammates up with the KC, which is already there, electrotherapy, but also having Joseph, that in case somebody tries to disrupt his play and action, he's going to be not worried about it. He'll still charge in the opponent's face.
Yeah, and sorry, I was muted for a second. GodLike, they have basically established themselves as the most rotation-heavy team, because they've got 3 tactical markets and only 1 team booster, right? Marco, Yogi, and Echo, they're both using the tactical markets, so they can get the mini launch pads very quickly. They can keep roaming around, and they will basically never get pinned. And on top of that, they can maintain their distance, because Yogi and Marco are both using Skylar as well as Nero. Those are active abilities which you will see in the hands of snipers very often. So they are responsible for keeping the opponents away from them. And if at all anyone gets close, Echo, while he's being called the rusher, and while he's being called the support player, he's actually using one of the dashing abilities. So he can get up there and use the movement to his advantage. While Nancy, even though he's being called the sniper, he's actually using Cassie, which is a heal ability. So they don't really adhere to these rules. Echo might be called a support player, but he really isn't. So that shows you how well and how versatile this godlike composition has been. And which is why they've been doing so well. If you look at the circle analysis, they were literally all over the map. We started off with an early drop into Deca Square for that godlike team, but look at that. They went all the way up towards Farmtopia. They almost went towards Intellect Center as well. And then look at that. They went towards Boxing Gym. I'm literally having trouble tracking godlike on the mini-map over here because they're moving so much.
Yeah. While you're talking about it, I'm still trying to figure out where they've made a jump towards, and that's how godlike have been. I think the position that became a lot more comfortable for godlike was the fight that they had with Hotshots. That is where they decided, hey, now we have control of things. And from that position that they've gotten at the edge of Boxing Gym, they barely moved because every other team was at the extremity of the edge of the circle. That gave them the advantage, and that is the reason by the end of Circle 6, they were able to get themselves the booyah. But I think the biggest decision that kind of worked out in their favor was that initial drop change that they did from Placeria, which we saw in the preferred drop spot, and making their way towards Deca Square. And I'm surprised, Deca Square is where we see a lot of action. Right from the get-go at the drop, there was no fight. There was fight at Mudside we spoke about. There was one more somewhere in between that we even talked about. And from there, it never happened that we saw a fight which could completely unfold at Deca Square. I think there was an instance where Team Hind came there, an NXT fight will happen. That is all. But other than that, not much in terms of that vicinity. But moving towards the next game, finally, after all that action, Crips, we move towards Bermuda, making teams a tad bit comfortable now. They were all chaotic, very restless, anxiety on the highest peak for them. But now going towards Bermuda, hopefully their nerves will calm down.
I don't think so, bro. See, you said anxiety on the highest peak. And look at that little cluster of teams on peak. My anxiety is going up high over here. There's 4 teams who claim that they're going to go towards peak. We know for a fact that Hotshots will drop towards peak, maybe even take a split drop towards peak in Kota Tua. We know that godlike will stick to peak. They are not going to run away. Maybe NXT will split drop between Bhima Shakti Strip and peak. We never know. Maybe they might change their mind and contest everybody over here. So where does that leave BB.S9? Where does that leave them? Because they certainly cannot compete with so many teams at once.
Yeah. See, I think this has been a little bit of a case for BB.S9. They've been in a position every time that we've seen them so far towards a clash. We spoke about that Mudside situation. They were in a fight with I think it was, yes, godlike as well as them and Straw Hats. From there, godlike moved out, but they were still in a continued fight with Straw Hats. But from there on, even further, right, we were kind of taking a look where teams were pushing their full front of, hey, do we have Nextera under control? We saw Hotshots trying their best. We saw Flame as well. While they picked up those fights, they won on it. They even eliminated RNX, but they were not able to hold themselves off towards the next positions. Team Hind had a big opportunity, but they also missed out on their chance.
Yeah, but Team Hind at least made up for it by shooting down a bunch of other players, right? They still had a lot of eliminations over there. So even if they miss out a couple of those eliminations, I think it's fine. Which is why when we look at the predictions for Bermuda, I might have picked Team Hind over here. Yes, I have. It's on the 3rd spot. But I am still putting Revenant XSpark as my #1 pick for Bermuda because I love how they rotate in general. Yep, last map was not the best for them. I know that because they generally perform way better than that. And I don't know, maybe I still place my faith in Revenant XSpark because I like the lineup change that they have done. Even though X Divine is no longer in the roster, I think that their macro decisions have not been that bad just yet. Obviously, we haven't really seen them being put under pressure because X Divine was amazing at getting his team out of sticky situations. They haven't been in those sticky situations just yet. So let's see how the new IGL for this team actually steps up for his team when the situation calls for him.
I think one of the reasons that there is a lot of eye on Revenant XSpark with this change happening and you also putting them on card, with Kunal coming into play, you just saw with Autobots' fray that he was under in command, what he did in that direction. They were unbelievable, almost looking towards to taking the spring for themselves in terms of that crown, being called the champions with the champion rush condition activated before anybody. So now Kunal moving towards Revenant XSpark, I think this is just getting used to these new boys and making sure they move in that direction once again. But I had Straw Hats as well as Bangla Unity and GodLike coming into play. GodLike, I knew towards these last few games will start picking up in action, and they've done just that. But Straw Hats, as well as Bangla Unity, Straw Hats, the reason that this is a game that they've been playing even in spring and now they're continuing here, they have to find the momentum. On the other end, Bangla Unity getting closer but missing their opportunity. It's time for Bermuda. Let's see if there is a chance at Peak or anywhere else.
Ooh, Team Hind early dropping towards Sentosa Island. We generally don't see them do this unless they are really feeling the heat, unless they are really in the mood to avoid any sort of fights completely. Peak, oh my god, so it is real. All those teams, they didn't lie about their drop locations. GodLike dropped towards Peak as expected, but BB.S9 did not back away. NXT at least take a bit of a risk-free approach. They split between Peak and Kota Tua. They're not even on Peak. They're at the southern end of Peak. They're in that double balcony house. So I think NXT want to take it they want to take a rather risk-free approach. Meanwhile, Hotshots, they were supposed to be over here. And they were flying towards Peak until they saw so many skydive trails. So then they just slightly deviate away towards Mill. But I'm pretty sure they will be back here in a couple of minutes once they're done looting in Mill.
As of now, while teams are still looking forward to figuring out where the start of this game is going to be in terms of elimination, everybody's just been running around. I'm surprised that Peak is so silent, even though it's crowded. GodLike also have decided that they are going to be in this spot. And sometimes when we've seen GodLike take the decision to move in the other direction, it's worked for them. But now they know the information. And now confidence is also working out. And look at Marco eyeing for these shots. Sniper being heavy, laying the land flat for BB.S9X Esports right from the start. And as we mentioned, GodLike say if it's crowded, we claim the land and put it to rest.
Yeah, lovely shot onto Megs. He's cracking them like they're a bunch of eggs, and you gotta break a few eggs if you want to make some omelets. And right now, GodLike aren't just making omelets, they're making up a whole meal for themselves. NXT finally step up to the actual end of this Peak. They get down from the southern side, and they climb up towards the main house. Now they've got the plant room. Marco taken down. Hemu finds him with the Trogon, but Mansi is already near the vending machine, so that's an instant res for Marco. NXT will find this information, and then they realize that, hey, there's at least 2 GodLike members near the tree room, near the vending machine, so we need to be extremely careful as we enter this house. Marco has already landed on the ground. He's taken the western side of Peak for himself. He should be able to go towards the black house and get some loot over there as well. Oh no, he's entering the maze. This is risky. I thought he would go towards the other house, but nope. The maze actually leaves him very exposed to Hemu. So he might just be dead meat over here once again. Oh, I think they're chasing down Marco. Yeah, he's got on the zipline. Can he make it across though? 99 damage, 1 more bullet should leave him at 2 HP, but Sabo decides against it. Alright, then it seems like they've got bigger fish to fry. They're hearing more gunshots. This is a battle between Nebula Esports as well as BB.S9 on the western end. I'm sorry, the eastern end of Peak. So yeah, NXT realized that they are actually in the vicinity of a lot more opponents over here. Oh, but I don't think they can get any control. Itachi left at 1 HP. Sahil Jat lands that shot. And that's the end of RZX. They are the first team to fall. Meanwhile, Flame Esports are already locked in a battle against Revenant XSpark. So that is yet another interesting battle over there. Oh my god, look at that shot. Eco. Bro, are you still playing Free Fire or are you playing hit and run? He lands 1 shot with that M590 and then dashes back to safety. Sheesh. I've only seen that in some single-player action games. It seems like he's playing this game on slow motion. And now he's gonna chase the last few members of NXT down to the ends of the earth. But meanwhile, we have a massive cluster fight over here in Observatory. Neil has the last leg of his team up. Can he get the rest before Hotshots get there? The time turner activated. Action runs right past him. But Adib, can he get it? Sajid finally lands that shot but doesn't get the knock. And look at that. Hotshots are not the only ones over here. Now even Revenant XSpark have arrived. Sohan got a little too far away from his team. No backup available, so he dies instantly. But at least he will relay this information back to his team, who are now trying to regroup.
Revenant XSpark, not the best again. This is something that's happening back and forth. But on the other end, Hotshots, They've missed out on the previous 2 games, and now they've somehow found a little bit of a control. 7 eliminations in total. Anas using Morse to just check around to see if they will be able to spot the player, and they will, rightfully so. And Revenant XSpark's Vincent, who tried to trail at the edges of the land, will not be allowed. Bermuda trying to be claimed. Vincent will somehow put him down with a bison, but for how long? Confirms that elimination. They're trying to get close. His health is not that great. He has to heal. He has to get the HP back up, but says action no. He puts his M590 into play, puts him to rest, confirms another elimination. And Revenant XSpark, they might have gotten 3, whereas here, Hotshots, they've gotten a total of 8.
Both these teams are actually doing pretty well for themselves. Not gonna lie, they both needed this. Revenant XSpark might not have as many eliminations as Hotshots, but that's also because they entered that fight really late. Meanwhile, GodLike Esports, even though they've been dominating Peak for the longest possible time, they only have 5 eliminations to their name because they really only fought NXT. They did not get much of an opportunity to hunt down BB.S9. They only took down like one of their players before BB.S9 promptly exited Peak. So now they've got the luxury of going for these care packages in the middle of the hill. And they know that this is just the first circle. So even though there's a lot of teams who generally rotate from this section of Bhima Sakti strip up towards Peak, they know that nobody will be in this vicinity just yet. So they've got some time to get and upgrade their weapons and, you know, just equip themselves, arm themselves to the teeth, prepare for the end game.
I don't know what the end game at this point is. While every team looks like they're in a preparation phase, it's just like the ingredients are not there. They're quickly ordering something. They're trying to get it through. Because so far, this action on Bermuda is surprising. Barely any fights, no teams completely losing. They're all Rezurrection. Unfortunate. Yes, they did. But hey, for the other ones, what's happening? Here, we end up seeing a fight which takes place between Straw Hats as well as Bangla Unity, where it seems like an exchange happens, but that's where Hotshots take control and strike through. This is where then Revenant XSpark also decide, hey, the fight's happening. Let's go in and take an advantage of this. But it is not Revenant XSpark who take advantage. It's just been Hotshots.
Exactly. And that was technically a 4th party situation. Now look at NXT. This is the 5th party. RNX jumping in as well. That's the 6th party, and Revenant XSpark have already been over here. What is happening? Everybody's landing on Observatory and treating it like it's a battlefield. That's the only place that exists in Bermuda. Adib gets the shot onto Rayhan. Cool, good enough, but then RNX dip back towards the southern side of Observatory. They do not want to overextend. NXT, while they might be in the center of all this action, they know that there is at least 2 other teams in the vicinity. But which team are they fighting? That they cannot tell. They hear all the footsteps around them. They know that Revenant XSpark are right around this edge. Sabo dashes right outside, but no, that's way too much. He did not know that both Kunal and Arsh will be on that other side. So yeah, Revenant XSpark get a freebie handed to them, and this weakens up the NXT members. But where is the rest of NXT? Oh wait, I see Hemu way in the distance. So NXT do not want to commit any of the members over here. They just leave this area and they leave RNX and RNTX to do the fighting.
And it seems like Revenant XSpark, after taking up those initial NXT knocks, now they're converting all of it. A little bit of a damage on Kunal, but they'll be able to get him back up on his legs, and they will confirm another elimination and put a total of 9. While the initial battle with Hotshot did not work in their favor and direction, they did make this observatory their own telescopic land where they could convert eliminations. But this is not yet done. They're outside the play zone. They need to still enter, and this has been a problem for Revenant XSpark, because they have not had control. However, one thing I like is, just before this I was mentioning, I was a lot more kind of rage baited that there's nothing happening around Bermuda, barely any action, and instantly it just pops off. The feed is not stopping. Hotshots now are converting eliminations. They've moved out of Observatory, and now they're finding something of their own.
Exactly. It's almost like the game rage baited you on purpose. And I love it. I love it. You demand for some action, and you get action on your screen, ladies and gentlemen. I think we should get Lucifer to do this way more often so we get more intense games. I mean, we've seen Next Era being the highest elimination map, right? We've seen that being the most aggressive map. And I'm like, why not Bermuda? Why not Bermuda? So let's hope that we can get as much action in Bermuda as well. And you were right when you mentioned that Revenant XSpark have had rotation troubles before. But it seems like this wouldn't be a problem for them because A, it's just the second zone. You can tank this much damage, no problem. And there's only one team who is gatekeeping you. Meanwhile, for Flame, this could be massive, massive problems because Hind have them surrounded on both the sides. And Hind have the high ground advantage on either end. But the revives are super fast for Flames. That Thiva ability really helping them out. Unfortunately, the Bolt Maker still keeps on getting them. Sahil Jat finds the angle, and with the Bison, he's able to shoot people down. Even at that range, even after getting multiple knocks, Flame Esports have all 4 of their players alive. They're getting massive revives done over here. And Team Hind are getting tired of fighting an opponent that just doesn't lose their lives. Shota finally loses his patience, rushes in, but haste makes waste, and Toki puts him down. Even Wolverine down on his last legs. He might just go down over here before he can even get a shot onto his opponents. And Team Hind, they overcommitted to this fight, so now they must pay the price for it. Unless KD and Sahil Jat can pull off a clutch. They find Taz on the other side. They're both just healing in each other's faces. Sahil Jat has nerves of steel to continue doing so. Taz goes for the big jump around the corner, hoping to get the flank, but he accidentally exposes himself to a seal, and he gets blown apart to smithereens. It's just KD God. The IGL has no chance. And Flame Esports, I think we know why they keep winning these fights now. They lost a Zoic 3 times in that battle. They rest him every single time. And even after those mass revives, Team Hind just cannot punish them despite having such a massive advantage.
They got their players back up from the vending. They were flying back down. KD God and Sahil Jat, they came back into this fight. And as you mentioned, they were not able to hold themselves against Flame Esports. And look at them. So many eliminations now, 10 in total, and on top of it, they will get their player who was down. Now Zoic is back into play. It's a 4-man squad back once. Flame Esports looking forward to taking that distance we were talking about, which they lost in Game 3 and Game 4 to another notch. They're already sitting at a total of 95 points. It seems like at the end of Game 5, it is going to be a triple digit being reached by Flame Esports. This is completely obnoxious, not something that they've done last time, and now to go out like this. They got eliminated in the South Asia Plains last time, Cribs. They did not even go into the main event, and look at them this time. They're back out on vengeance.
And you mentioned Team Hind getting the revives on their players using vending machines. What does Flame use to get those revives? Just Thiva. Just regular picking back your teammates up. I can't even call that a respawn. That's a proper revive. Team Hind were actually respawning their teammates. They had to spend money for this stuff. But what do Flame Esports have to spend? Just a tiny fraction of their HP that they tank the damage with. And now they are here with their next target. Dart gets the first knock onto Wild Fox. But Sabo, he at least gets the revenge. He trades out his teammates. Hotshots, what? Huh? They got destroyed in seconds. I was just talking about NXT versus Flame Esports. But Bangla Unity, they wipe the floor with their opponents in a matter of seconds.
Yeah. But on top of it, this shipyard completely now enrolled by multiple teams. It's been a position that we kind of don't generally see teams fight out at the latest stages. It is the early ones where teams try to take the vertical advantage. But right now at shipyard, everybody is moving in because it seems like the last few circles, they're going to make a mark here. GodLike at the almost center of it. Nebula's one player did try to take a dive, but do everybody else also cross over? It seems like on the minimap, that's what we are seeing. But GodLike, they have a problem. That is Straw Hats right at their corner. But they have a big cement compound that they can be okay with. But this verticality that we were talking about that Nebula wanted as a control for themselves is not working out. Ash, he is charging the player of Nebula who tried to make a jump. Now Swaroop is stuck. And on the other end, it is going to be NXT. Ash, who knocked them, is now also trailing a player on land. And this is problem. And there it is. Swaroop going out. Puts an end to Nebula Esports. They were one of those first Indian teams to get a booyah, and now they're out and they've not been able to hold themselves in any of the other consecutive games.
Bro, I think it's been such a long time since I've seen a shipyard endgame. It's been at least 2 years since I've seen a game that ends in this part of the map. And normally whenever you see this part of the map, you see just the eastern end of shipyard along with like a tiny bit of mill in the mix. This time none of that is present. NXT, while they have that mill fort wall for their cover, they are the only team who are present on that side of the map. Everybody else in the shipping containers or on the high ground trains. GodLike have a warehouse for themselves, so they choose to be indoors other than take the high ground approach. I respect that. I don't think you should be on the high ground unless you have a lot of information, or maybe at least a character that can give you information. So GodLike will be sitting tight inside this house. Meanwhile, Straw Hats must push towards them from the other end of the map. Wait, I'm sorry, that's not even the other end of the map. It's just the other end of the wall. They're literally neighboring GodLike right now.
Problem is for Straw Hats is there is a big compound I was talking about. So they have to go around that corner, and then GodLike already have that position. And GodLike, look at how they're playing. Flame wanted to make their move, and Flame were already being peddled by multiple teams. NXT was the start, and now GodLike who ends their run. That is going to be Flame Esports, who almost look like they wanted to reach that 100 mark. Now will be put to rest. Maybe look forward to game number 6. But Bangla Unity, they have an opportunity this time. Straw Hats, they want to make a run. Who right now trying to shoot down RNTX. But RNTX, they have a clear vision. They want to get into the same compound that GodLike are in. Nero plushie being used, and there is the knock coming through. That was a flash freeze as well from Straw Hats helping out. Extra, and now GodLike will move in. They're rapid on this action. Ursh tries to try and invade. It doesn't work out. He gets knocked. But look at Straw Hats from behind. They're troubling Echo, and that is going to be a knock and elimination. GodLike, while they were trying to hold off on Revenant XSpark, now Straw Hats are also causing trouble. But thankfully, NXT come in as a surprise, and now NXT put trouble to Straw Hats. And now Straw Hats, they have to decide to move in the other direction. Rightfully so, they do. But GodLike are now stuck. The same position that Straw Hats were in stuck is now GodLike feeling that oppression.
Yeah, they're feeling oppressed. They're feeling cornered. They cannot be safely ensconced in this little gap because one single nade can completely destroy them. They need to be absolutely spot on to block those nades. But hold on, first they need to block the imminent assault of Straw Hats. They rush right inside. Shocked with that spray down gets Yogi, but they're getting shot from behind as Straw Hats try to close in the distance against GodLike. Shocked finds himself strapped between a rock and a hard place. Nancy tries to get up on top. That fancy footwork will get him the elimination, but will it get him the knock? Because the circle actually moves in that direction. And Nancy eliminates Straw Hats. That's the end of this team. Even Revenant XSpark fall in this kerfuffle, leaving Bangla Unity as the strongest team for the time being.
Bangla Unity, while there were so many fights happening, they were away from it, and that is the reason they were able to keep all their 4 players surviving. NXT was very busy in taking down those eliminations, and that is the reason they've also lost players. But they've taken a vertical advantage. How far will it help it out? These cranes that we kind of talk about, the platforms is not going to be enough, and GodLike not having numbers, they still managed to make a mark. Marco, he puts down player from NXT, and now NXT in big trouble. Sabo's elimination confirmed. One last player from NXT. Where did he make a jump? He's made a jump in the other direction. But Hemu, that jump, the Sabo's elimination now being taken as a revenge has been served to GodLike. So it's a 1v1v4 situation, and Bangla Unity, this is a platter served with a booyah for their name, and they have to take it. That's all they have to do. GodLike has been eliminated, and NXT's last survivor, the IGL, the captain, Hemu, and now they're charging upon him, making sure he will not get an opportunity, but they're going in as individuals, and Hemu quickly takes down Hunter.
Yep, instantly turning it from a 1v4 to a 1v3. He can hear the footsteps on the metal. They sound different, but BB.S finally gets him. And it was just a matter of time before Bangla Unity got their booyah. They played it really well. They avoided the fire. They avoided all the danger in that very, very sticky, precarious situation. And they get rewarded with a booyah for their efforts.
And Bangla Unity, I think this was something that was almost brewing, and we were talking about it. Like how we ended up seeing Flame Esports, Bangla Unity were getting closer in that direction. Unfortunately, yes, initial games they missed out, but now they're going to be happy. And yes, that position they were holding, we spoke about it, we saw earlier, only one team who was away around that shipyard was Bangla Unity. Every other team surrounded or at the edges of the play zone, very close to GodLike, Straw Hats, NXT, and that became an advantage. And Bangla Unity, all they had to do is pick eliminations in between these fights. And NXT, they were very aggressive during this course of time. They took down every team they spotted, took positions that nobody could maybe able to reach, and I think that became a problem as well, because while they were reaching in those heights, they could not take all their players together, and Bangla Unity took that advantage. Hemu knew this was not going to be a booyah that he had an opportunity of. Maybe he was looking for another player who could climb up Hunter's elimination and added on elimination on their cards. But Bangla Unity knew that is a very thin rail. There is no much space to hide, and they get this booyah confirmed. Very well played in terms of that end game. in having composure. They could have jumped, and if they did, they could have also gone down to the guns of NXT.
Yeah, and that's another risky approach over here for NXT, right? Because you can't even reliably use glue walls and chrono time turners to actually keep you safe up there, because they leave a gap whenever you put them down on such a thin yellow metal railing. So yeah, you can't fully rely on cover. I mean, you can go prone, but that will basically make you a very easy target if someone gets an angle on you. So you're doomed if you use that high ground. You're doomed if you don't. And I think the only way NXT can make sense by climbing up there is to use that platform to get a bunch of eliminations. Even if you don't get the Puya, they are tied up with Bangla Unity at 25 points apiece. And I think that's the best case scenario that NXT could have asked for. Still, GodLike doing really well for themselves. In the last 2 games, they seem to have finally adjusted to the lobby. They might not have had the best possible advantage going into this game, but they made the most of the resources that they were given. 11 eliminations is still nothing to scoff at. Even Revenant XSpark, they couldn't do much in that final battle. Most of the eliminations still come from that massive observatory battle. I think they got like 9 or 10 eliminations in observatory itself, and then they just added one more by coming towards the end game in Shipyard. Flame Esports, for that matter, man, they just cannot have a bad game now, can they? Like, even in their worst possible situation, even when they're surrounded by 3 different teams, and even at their absolute worst position, they still get 15 points minimum. So yeah, I think they're above 100 points right now. They definitely must have touched triple digits. Straw Hats finally stepping up. It's a balanced game for them at 15 points. Not too good, not too bad. But hey, Hotshot Esports, they were also struggling in the first 2 games. Now they've also woken up. Just 1 point behind the rest of the GodLike members.
I'm kind of, this game, when we were kind of talking about Nextella, right? This has been a game where we ended up seeing double-digit elimination all the way till the team at the 7th spot. Could be one of the highest elimination games, at least for today. But as you rightfully mentioned, Flame Esports, they reached the rank of 100. We spoke about it. There were 95 points with the 10 eliminations they had, and the 5 placement points they get, they reached 100. Bangla Unity right behind another Bangladeshi team, 88 total points, and then we end up seeing an Indian squad that's going to be Nebula Esports. And Nebula Esports, they've been a tad bit consistent in the overall performance. If you would like look at the other Indian squads, Team Hind trying to close that gap, but they did not start out great, and that is the reason they're still a little trail behind. They don't have a Booyah. Tried in one of those games we already spoke about on Nextera, did not work out. GodLike right next at the 5th position, and then we end up seeing Hotshot Esports. I think they've had a dip. While we commended when we started off after game 3, we both came up on desk, right? We mentioned Hotshot seems like they've started doing the damage, but as you rightfully mentioned, it's been actions as well as Anas, and the other players have to catch up to them. But with that, BB.S9X Esports, Rezurrection NXT, Revenant XSpark, Straw Hats, and RNX right at the edge of elimination. Today is day 1, but also with that, they're almost concluding your 6 games, and you'll be left with only 6 games left for the next day that you'll be playing on, meaning your other 6 games, if you've not right now pulled off on big number in terms of your socks, it is done, and it's going to be even more pressurizing for you in the next ongoing games.
Exactly. And while we don't really have a cutoff number that we have agreed upon, generally you need to get somewhere between 10 to 15 points in each game if you want to be considered safe. So if you get 10 points in each game across 12 games, that's 120 points, which again, I don't think is safe enough. I think you need to get a minimum 15 points. Yeah. So across those 6 games, you need to score anywhere between 170 to 180 points to actually call yourself safe. Flame Esports, in just 5 games, have already reached 100. I'm pretty sure that they will get somewhere around 115 by the end of this day, because even at their lowest performance, they get 115 points. Bangla Unity, Nebula, Team Hind, every team who is at somewhere around the 80 to 90 points mark, I think they also are good for now. And you got GodLike Esports and Hotshots. While they're tied up at 67 each, GodLike is just a tad bit ahead because they have that 1 extra Booyah. But then again, both GodLike and Hotshot have had to climb their way up after having a few bad games at the start. Meanwhile, RNX Esports, they had a phenomenal start. They finished 2nd in 2 games back-to-back, losing out to only Flame Esports. But yet, after that, they haven't really had a very good time. So they have now slipped down to the 7th spot. It's almost like RNX have switched the spots with GodLike and Hotshot Esports. one team started off really well and then slipped down. The other team started off bad and then climbed up. I don't know which one is worse, but they both need to be somewhat consistent.
But I like the overall standings that we've seen so far, at least between these two groups. And we've not been consistent on saying, hey, these teams have always been in the top 8. There's always been a change after every game. But with that, let's take a look at the Booyah team stats. Group A and B, and the winner, as we already mentioned, Bangla Unity. This is what they were wielding: Cassie, Oscar, Morse, and Chrono coming into play. But with this, we end up seeing 2 team boosters, an enhanced hammer as well, with a tactical narket being played.
Isn't this the first time we've seen an enhanced hammer being used in this lobby so far?
I think for the day.
Yeah, for the day, this is the first time we're seeing someone use the enhanced hammer. Maybe there are a bunch of other teams using it as well, but we just haven't seen it. But we haven't really seen that up
in the Booyah team stats.
Yeah, we haven't seen that in the Booyah team stats. So, yeah, let's see. I mean, so far, a lot of the teams have been just using the tactical market and the team boosters. So I'm glad that somebody finally uses something else for a change. They're also focused a lot on survivability because they've got the Chrono, the Cassie, as well as the Morse. All 3 of them can help you survive. One in a bit sneaky way and the other one in a more team fight way. So regardless of which poison you pick, Bangla Unity actually do focus a lot more on survivability, because look at their damage numbers as well, right? The highest damage that they have is on Beerus with 3000 damage, but only 6 knockouts. This is a rather humble number, considering we've seen such monstrous performances from teams all throughout the day. We've seen such high elimination games. This is more on the humble end. This is more on the passive end of the things.
Now with this, Bangla Unity, as we already said, South Asia Play-ins day number 1 for the teams from Bangladesh. They've been performing like this is the end game. This is where they have to qualify. There is nothing left. Day 1 has been their qualification. That's what I think has been the agenda that they've started off on. And it's working out. I think that's a mentality that every team should play with, because when you move to the champions rule, right? That champion risk condition, the champion rule being play, you will have trouble, because any team runs like this, they will conclude their champion rush criteria active and then they make their move towards a Booyah. You will be in big trouble. You lose out on the title, and we did see what happened. But with this, it's still one complex that we are in, is to understand where are we heading towards game number 6. Which map is it going to be? As we said, it is going to be randomized.
Yeah, and I hope that the randomizer picks Kalahari. Yep, it does. Let's go. I really wanted to see Kalahari once again, because the previous game that we saw was just so entertaining. And I mean, I'm a bit biased. I'm not gonna lie, guys. I really love casting Kalahari for some reason. Don't ask me why. It gives me more satisfaction than next era. So I'm happy that we get to cast Kalahari once again.
I'll tell you why. I do not have to exclaim that there's no action happening like we did on Bermuda. Kalahari has action all throughout.
Right. It's a little more consistent. It's a little more spread out, you know, because even if somebody survives, there's good ways to get to the other vending machines and the other recall towers. And there's almost always going to be somebody camping on the other side. And even the rotations are very straightforward. Even though grappling hooks exist in this map, I think there are certain spots which are just much easier to grapple towards as opposed to the other ones. Like if you grapple towards the top of Mammoth Bones, you're basically asking to be shot at. Meanwhile, Refinery has a lot more sneaky spots. So if you know every nook and cranny, you will be untouchable. But let's take a look at the preferred drop spots. Obviously, Refinery is going to be heavily contested. Hotshots and GodLike Esports have locked horns over here time and again. But RNX, even though they claim to go towards Refinery, they don't drop into the center of Refinery. They drop towards the other smaller outposts of Refinery, which are connected to the mainland via zip lines. So RNX love going for a split drop across Refinery. Hotshots and GodLike Esports, they basically ego clash. Like, I'm not even going to mince my word. That is literally an ego clash at this point. Meanwhile, Team Hind, safe on the sub. I think they will only get into fights if somebody rotates via that direction. Even in the previous game, they were rather safe over there. Straw Hats going towards Mammoth, no problem. NXT in the maze, again, no problem. But up north, I see a potential clash that Revenant XSpark can get into towards the shrines. That being said, though, they've done really well for themselves in the previous games of Kalahari as well. That is why I think Revenant XSpark can have a good time in this game, and which is why even when we bring up our custom predictions, you will see that I've picked them, but like reluctantly.
Okay, let's see if that is going to be the course of action. But while you were talking about GodLike and Hotshots, them having a battle at Refinery, I think NXT, with the pace that they just picked, and we saw them right now of how Bermuda, how intense, how aggressive they were. They were another team who were almost closer towards that 30-point. But also one thing to note is, in Bermuda, we did not get that 30-pointer by anybody.
Yeah.
That's how contesting that game was. And now moving towards to this, I feel like NXT are in that direction. Flame Esports, at this point, if there's anybody on desk, and now you as viewers as well, should have them in your top 3. They somehow make it across. They're already sitting at 100 after their first 2 games. They've just been on, and then GodLike coming into play. The only offset between our picks are going to be GodLike that you have managed to pick up, and I think, sorry, not GodLike, it's RNX that you managed to pick up, and RNX, they're in a seesaw situation, I feel like.
Yeah, exactly.
One game somebody just jumps and they're shooting up on the sky and finding their eliminations, and all of a sudden now they're just whiplashed and thrown around the map and they're done for. So RNX, this happened for them in spring as well. By the time they understood the lobby, they managed to get eliminated. They could not make it to the top 8. I think that's what they're still facing here.
Yes, that has actually been a consistent problem for RNX. They always find the counter. Yes. But by the time they do it, it's too little too late. I hope they've understood how Kalahari works for them, because Kalahari was like a somewhat decent-ish map for them up until now, up in their careers, even though it's not been a very good map for them today. It has been a map where historically they don't completely suck. There have been maps where RNX struggle a lot, but Kalahari has not been one of them, even though it's not their best map. And I hope they've found the counter to it already, because they need those points. They started off the day really well, and now for you to slip down after being in the top 2 for the longest possible time, that is rather tragic. I have picked them up, but only because they are smart with using the refinery compounds that don't actually exist in the main refinery island, in the main refinery area. They gatekeep a lot of teams by using those little other compounds, the steel platforms really well, and they use the zip lines really well. I don't know, man.
Yes.
I think we saw this even in Bermuda. Like, they don't get punished on zip lines very often, which is extremely rare for a lot of other teams. Like, usually you're a super easy target to shoot down if you're on a zip line, but somehow they don't get shot.
But on one end, one team that's been shot down in all of the games that we've seen so far has been Revenant XSpark. They've not been able to hold themselves at all. It's not working out for them. Yes, unfortunate for them that they're figuring it out on the go, right? This transition of finding a new IGL has been very recent. It's not something that they've been used to. They've been grinding. They played another tournament just before this. So it's kind of taking them time to get set in. Otherwise, we've seen, right, what Arsh is capable of doing, what Sohan is capable of doing, and especially Kunal and Vincent, this is not the very first time they're playing together. They have a good relationship that they've played with different squads very early on. And now coming towards this direction, it could work out. It seems like, but it's just that rotation that they're getting caught on. But one team who've been very steadfast in trying to find eliminations from the get-go, I did bring them back up in terms of topic at the very beginning when we started in game number 4, is Hotshots. They are somewhere here and there. Their fight that they deal upon opponents in between, we even saw at Observatory, how good, especially the elimination feed as well, keeps popping up with their name. But once again, when it comes to stabilize, when the circle's closing in, Hotshot Esports are not together, and one after another, they get picked off.
But at least they aren't struggling, you know? We have other teams who really need to step up over here. RZX is one of them. So let's see if they can find their footing in the sands that keep on shifting, or will their blood once again be spilled all over the brown floor? Let's put it together for the last game of the day, ladies and gentlemen. Put your hands together for Kalahari.
The game where we end up seeing teams fighting all across the lands, and on top of it, Crips, Snipers Haven is what Kalahari is. I really enjoy that action, but Refinery seems like it's going to be only GodLike close by at the edges, which I did presume NXT trying to challenge not RNX or Hotshot, and Hotshot this time seems like they've moved in the other direction to fight at Council Hall to declare whose control that is going to be with Nebula. RNX, they tried to pick up eliminations and it's working out. BB.S, he's been picked up from Bangla Unity. On the other end, NXT and GodLike, we speak about them, and GodLike, they get picked off. NXT are quick on it, but they've also lost the player. However, Sabo trying to hold his own. Can he? For how long? There is Flame as well in contention. What NXT started, it seems like Flame will put an end to it. Heimu is the last man standing. Did not even manage to grab weapons that he would have wanted. He's barely left with his initial drop weapons that he managed to pick, now making a run, and he's going to be a little too far away. Even any close to vending machine, does not have any coin even to pick up. Finally, he picks up one laying around in the ground, but that's only just 200, will not help him out. On the other end, GodLike, they've stabilized. Marco and Yogi, they start picking up eliminations. Flame, who I thought they are the ones who are going to put an end to this fight at Refinery, GodLike have pushed them back. Auzoic and Taj, they're the last two ones surviving. Yogi will join this group and now decide that this Refinery's position and the platforms across will be theirs. But the fight is not stopping. Hotshot, we spoke about this, a fight with Nebula at Council Hall, and it seems like Hotshot, they've picked up elimination. GodLike on the other end, continuing the trail where they want these players to be picked off. Auzoic spotted on that launch pad, but they know there's still one more player here. Taj, he's been spotted. Nancy wants to put him down, damage being done, and I don't think Taj will be able to survive here. There is the knock, Nero plushie being used, and before he could go away, that's another elimination that GodLike grab in their name.
Yep, it's a very fast start for GodLike Esports. Nice and hot. So they will actually ditch their Refinery spot, and it works out for them. Historically, that's never happened, you know. Whenever they ditch Refinery, it always ends in disaster. But this time, they managed to make it work. Now, do they realize that Auzoic is right around the corner? He's hiding there stoically. GodLike, oh, it looks like they have to fight against RNX for now. Somehow, Flame will be safe in this entire kerfuffle. But no, Nancy gets taken down. He doesn't check the corner around that side. And Yogi finally gets him. Meanwhile, in a completely different part of the map, we've got Revenant XSpark and BB.S9 also fighting each other.
BB.S9, is there a comeback? They are sitting at the dead bottom towards the standings. It's not been working out. While you see at the right side edge this time, it doesn't seem to be the standings that you did see while we ended the previous game. This is a complete new standings. We are keeping you in a disarray. Confusion is what you're going to be having as viewers. But BB.S9X Esports, 6 eliminations, and they're trailing for more. Taj has been spotted, damage being done by Megs and Quick on the grab. BB.S9X Esports, seems like something big has changed, and now look at this Megs. This is big confidence. This is Nerves of Steel. He doesn't care. He's hearing shots, just jumping across the lands.
Ooh, Flame Esports now. Wait. They are not the only ones over here. Wait, yeah, Hotshots are coming in. They need to wrap this fight up quickly. And he realizes the danger, imminent danger, extremely well. He takes that launch pad right out of there. But Hotshot shoots down Megs anyway. And now Iko is also trapped. Actions dashes right into his face and puts him 6 feet under. This is, I think, the only third-party attempt by Hotshots that has actually net them quite a lot of benefits. Because every time they've done so before, except for that one fight in Observatory in Bermuda, they've never reached on time, they've never third-partied on time, and they never really get as many points as they should. This is the first, or maybe like the second successful third-party attempt from them.
Third party, as you did mention, Hind. However, at Santa Catarina have no third parties. There was one player who tried to enter and they will also fend that player off. However, Hind's run has not been very consistent. They've, yes, managed to get closer towards the top. They've picked up eliminations even in this game, but they want to prolong this even further. If they are able to do it, then they're going to be happy. But it's been a problem for them that while they're also rotating out, the other teams are going to hold them at the edges of the circle, and that put them down one after another. And this time at least, they've managed to make sure that they're at the edges, looking forward to where the other players are dropping. And it seems like they've spotted one, and now they're moving in that direction. And they're taking their time in terms of advancing to get that fight under their control. Flame on the other end, who lost a lot of their players in that initial clash, will try to revive, but BB.S9, they're not allowing them. Deepu put Rasil down, instant elimination confirmed as well. BB.S9, something big has changed. 9 eliminations in total under their belly. It seems like after them seeing in the today's standings that 2 of their counterparts from the same region are at the tabletop, they want to start climbing because they are at the bottom. They need to find their way to victory, and they're going how? They're going towards it by chasing it. And Flame, they're the ones who are being minced in this grinder. While on one end, BB.S9 are picking. Now Team Hind also picked them off. One after another, Flame are unable to hold themselves on Kalahari at all.
Even though they try to hold themselves together, the other teams get a hold of them. They need to actually split drop to survive. And that is so not their playstyle. It's completely unnatural to them. So yeah, they're being forced into a very uncomfortable spot. Oh, speaking of discomfort, look at Kunal and Shoko awkwardly staring at each other. Kunal can see Shoko's little sickle all the way through that box, and he realized that information to Suhan, who will chase down Shoko. Yeah, that's what happens when you've got a very fat posterior. You get spotted by your enemies, even with the TPP. That being said, though, NXT have re-cleared Santa Catrina. Wasn't Team Hind here just like a few seconds ago? Where did Team Hind go? They must have rotated away from here really quickly, because how can NXT be here and they don't see anybody? Meanwhile, RNX, they want to re-engage in this fight against Reventant XSpark. They've got their players landing on top of Mammoth again instead of going somewhere else. So Revenant XSpark will be happy to take this fight day in and day out. Oh, and look at that. The moment Hassan gets up, he's got Sahil Jat waiting for him over there.
This is what we've been talking about RNX. They're unable to find themselves in a position they can call strong. NXT and Hind, you mentioned about it. Sahil Jat, he decided, oh wait, Santa Catrina was under control. Let's make a move in that direction. And they get surprised. Hemu wanted to try and control. That doesn't work with the Woodpecker. That's going to be a shutdown coming in. Shoto helping from afar. Sahil Jat as well, following that suit. And NXT now, they've been forced back out of Santa Catrina. But it seemed like Sabo, he has gone for the vending machine, wants to get the players back up. Hind have not yet spotted him. Shoto finally will get that call that you missed Sabo right at the edge of that ship, and will finally get that confirmation. And this time, Team Hind as well. Total 10 eliminations. This has just been back and forth. But now, as we talk about the back and forth, another team decides that they want to take a hit at this ship. It seems like there's a long-lost treasure stuck here, and Straw Hats want their own share.
Yep. This is where the One Piece is hidden, guys. There you go. I spoiled the show for you. 1,000 episodes and it gets spoiled on a Free Fire broadcast. But Team Hind are completely aware about this push because they've used the UAV already. And even though they lose Shoto, I think they should be able to survive this one because Extra is getting chased by Wolvin. How do they keep their footing over here on such a tiny slope, on such a slanted slope? It's ridiculous. Look at that time turner. I've never seen it cover at such an angle. Wolvin slips down, but Sahil Jat continues to stay up there. He needs to maintain this position, and he does! Surprise is shocked. And now Shock has no chance of getting rest because Extra is not anywhere close to him. Extra has to go all the way other side. And while he was busy chasing Wolvin, both Wolvin and Sahil Jat climb down and they try to get the knock onto who at least takes down KD God before the backup arrives. But the trades are instant from Team Hind and they're doing such a good job of keeping their players alive. I think they should be able to get the res onto KD God as well. There you go, comes through instantly, but Wolvin loses his life in the process. Shoto gets the knock onto Extra. Finally, that troublemaker has been put to rest and Sahil Jat has a triple. He is wiping the floor with his opponents over here. But Straw Hats need to be very, very careful because Flame is also taking shots at them. Flame is the unwanted third party. No, they try to go towards the vending machine. Shock thought that he would be able to block his opponents with the glue wall so that he can go for the res in the vending machine, but it just simply does not happen in time.
Something that's not happening is going to be RNX finding points because GodLike, they did have a little bit of an issue. But issue again continues at Santa Catrina. Team Hind now being completely oppressed by Rezurrection. They did not know about this. They just, pushed out Straw Hats. They thought it was completely clear, holding it off. And Rezurrection did not make much sound. They were creeping in from the edges. And the way they jumped in the Santa Catrina, the hole that was there in, they completely spewed all their bullets one after another and put them down. Now, Rezurrection, they spotted Straw Hats close by along with Flame as well. That's another opportunity for Rezurrection. They did manage to now start pulling up in terms of their games. This is another team at the bottom of today's standings who needs to increase that points that they managed to grab now. They might have gotten 7, they might be able to get 14, but it's still a long way. They have to fight it out with everybody.
Yeah, it's a very steep, very uphill climb for this team. So I hope that they don't slip up. Quite literally, like how Team Hind had a couple of players slipping over there. Oh no, wait a second. Team Hind started fighting RZX moments after they wiped out Straw Hats, and they ended up losing most of their players. Did they get eliminated over here though?
No.
They're
still there. They managed to
still alive. Yeah. All right, so no harm, no foul. But hey, RZX managed to get quite a lot of points, and now they're actually tied up with BB.S9, both the teams at 39 points apiece.
While we did reset it earlier, but right now you can see the points are there up on your screens. Bangla Unity, unfortunate, they did not get anything. They're going to be stuck at 88 at the end of the day. On the other end, Rezurrection, as we said, the bottom dwellers, They've found 7 points. They've matched it with BB.S9, who have also had 11 eliminations in this game. But RZX under threat from Flame Esports. Flame, they've been on the top of their game. They've gotten 9 eliminations. They want to charge in for another one. But BB.S9, they're being challenged by NXT. While they wanted to make their own climb happen, it's going to be denied. Chrono being used for the quick revive. Thankful to the Tiva that will work out. Will also lay down the healing, and it will bring back the players of BB.S9 in action. Whereas NXT now have to wonder, do they have to continue this fight? And it decides that it will happen. Wild Fox decides to challenge, and it doesn't work out. Ohm puts him down, and NXT, they suffer a loss.
This is an actual bad habit from Wild Fox, because this is not the first time I'm seeing him getting caught in the middle of that transition. Like, he needs to be either much faster between houses, or he needs to use his glue walls effectively, because he loses his life consistently in the same way while going from one house to the other. And now even him, who finds himself trapped, there's not much that he can do over there, surviving at 1 HP, literally on his last legs. I guess I can say the same about Shoto as well, because he is the last bastion of his team. Lands a shot onto Smarty, but that's nearly not enough. And Team Hind end up getting eliminated at the 10th spot.
Resurrection, while we thought they will be having a fight with Flame and maybe in trouble, but seems like they moved their way back to Santa Catarina, where I think Kerry got moved in this direction to revive the squad. He would have thought that it might be with the zone closed out, the position will be empty. It was not the case. Resurrection was still here. They managed to revive their teammate as well. On the other end, Nebula, they're one of the Indian teams who've managed to grab a booyah in their name today, along with GodLike following that suit. But can they find something here in the last game for the day, game number 6, and they're trying to fight with the table toppers, jump right up on top of that building. This is how they trouble Team Hind, and now they want to trouble Flame Esports. Diving down, Swaroop doing the damage, using the dash, but only the glue wall destroyed. Thankfully, Spark, the new joinee, finds a knock, looking forward to confirmation, and both of them together play the part, and just at that window's edge, they snipe the opponents out.
Yeah, and Spark, though, he needs to keep this Spark alive, because the danger is not out just yet. RZX now trying to jump on top of them. Resurrection looking for the revives, but they cannot handle NB's insurrection. Can Nebula Esports go ballistic? Can they go cosmic over here? They definitely can, but they lose Tiger. Patlu, not aware of that spot, now has to reposition himself away from the window. So he's getting shot from RCX as well as BB.S9, and now they're kind of dropped in between a rock and a hard place. And while we were witnessing this fight, we also saw RNX getting completely destroyed by Reventant XSpark. So that is also a mystery elimination that we don't know how it happened. RZX taking way too much zone damage. Swaroop dips back outside the zone, hoping to stay alive for just a little bit longer, but this is the 4th circle, so it's gonna hurt you quite a lot. He's just waiting for RZX to get out of here. Oh, that's so good. That's so patient. Now that RZX are in the center of the circle, and now that they're getting shot by Hotshots, Swaroop can keep himself alive, or so he thought. Hotshot look at him instantly, and down goes Nebula Esports.
Unfortunate for Nebula, with the Bolt Maker there, and they did not have enough space to move out of the zone with teams at every corner of that circle. Now Hotshots, they've taken the center of the circle for themselves. We even saw them picking up that last elimination in their name. However, coming down to the last 4 teams, it cannot be called safe and sound. Revenant XSpark, they made it to their way at the top 4. This is a game they also need. BB.S9, we spoke about them. This is a game they need as well, because they are the very bottom, sharing that scoreboard with Resurrection. Resurrection, however, in this game, they did try their best, but they've been swept out. However, Bolt Maker call now, damage being done on Hotshots. I want to figure out how they make their move, because if they try to step out of the compound at the roof or the edge of the balcony, they'll be knocked, and that's what happened. Using the glue walls, they bring their player back up. Nero's plushie was sent by BB.S9. BB.S9, this is an opportunity that they've seen, and they also foresight a booyah for themselves. That is the reason they're working hard towards this. GodLike on the other end only have 1 hut to play around, and not much in terms of action. On the other end, Action himself throws down a nade to find an opening as a knock. Revenant XSpark helping out, and this seems like BB.S9, all the efforts that they put will be in the drain, with GodLike, Hotshot and Revenant XSpark together putting down them here in Kalahari.
Yeah, that's what happens when you get targeted. Welcome to the big leagues, BB.S9. This is what happens when you get trapped in an awkward spot. Everybody shoots at you like you are the fish in the battle. Now GodLike must abandon this spot. Do they have at least a single inch to work with? Yeah, literally just an inch. They use the glue walls to block any possible nades over here, but I think there's going to be way too much thrown towards them. Kunal's nade does get one knock, but oh my god, look at that. Kunal is freezing them alive. They are in the Arctic Circle over here. Marco, the last man standing, must go on a mass revival procedure over here. He needs to become Mother Teresa, quite literally, over here if he wants to keep his team alive. But everybody is throwing melters and freeze bombs on top of them. And Marco's like, nope, I can't do anymore. Let's get out of here, guys. Eco, making a valiant jump towards the other shot, will get shot mid-air by Kunal. And Revenant XSpark make their last stand against Hotshots.
Hotshot Esports, they've been very fiery from the very start of the day, but Booyah yet not in their name. Can they convert something? They're doing the damage. Revenant XSpark have closed the gap. Chrono being used, but Arsh, he finds the knock. Leo's being taken down. Confirmation will also quickly come across. Quadra for Arsh, and he's going bonkers. Sohan, wait, what? Hotshots? Action, he's just stuck, and now Sajid as well in big trouble. Somehow he's trying to hold it off, but he cannot with just the shotgun. Anas gets taken down, and Sajid is the last man standing, surrounded by a plethora of Revenant XSpark, and Revenant XSpark get a booyah. Questions all across. Kunal joining new, and they finally answer. And now this squad is gonna be happy, showing off the caliber that they delivered during our spring run. They can do it once again.
Teams were doubting them. All the people in the community raised questions about their lineup changes. But with this change, they have shown that their firepower has not reduced. Their decisions have not faltered. And I don't know if I like Kunal's new hairstyle, but I am loving his decision making.
Let's talk about how it all started, right? We did see where GodLike were being pelleted with multiple flash freezes, nades coming in from Revenant XSpark and Hotshot as well. But just before this, if you go back, it was even the same condition for BB.S9X Esports. Same position, same way they started getting eliminated, and now it continues. However, Revenant XSpark, they thought they could be quick in charging against Hotshots, and it did work out. Hotshots were not ready for it. They thought inside the compound, nobody's going to try and go in for a fight, and from there itself, the whole cascade unfolded. And Sohan, once he saw this opportunity, I don't know what happened with actions, unfortunate for him, and with Sajid being the last one with only a shotgun in his hand, Anas going down, and you could see right in front of Sajid, that's how his teammate got knocked. There was no other chances Sajid could help him out. There were just too many forces of Revenant XSpark right in front, and with that being done, Booyah being grabbed, and this is going to be finally something that they'll be happy about. As you mentioned, as we mentioned, as I spoke about, all those questions put to rest now.
Yeah, I mean, Actions was doing well for himself up until now. In the last circle, in the last battle, I don't know what happened to him. We will have to look into that later on. But it ends up being better for Revenant XSpark because they walk away with the booyah. And regardless of whatever happened to Hotshot Esports, despite all the hardships that they've faced, 27 points is still damn respectable. 18 eliminations with the second place. It's still amazing for Hotshot Esports because they were true neutral up until now. They were at the 6th spot, and with this, I'm sure they must have jumped up at least at the 4th spot at the very minimum. BB.S9, oh my god, what do I even say about them? Because they were literally at the bottom, and now 21 points, even though it's not a very big number, it seems like a massive number because it's literally half their points. They had 39 points before this one. If they get 21 in a single game, it basically means that they've covered up half of their day's work and almost 1.5x their entire total score.
But covering up in terms of a booyah and getting the team back on track is going to be this man, Vincent. We've always talked about this. Very crucial for Revenant XSpark has been Vincent. Even in the days where X-Divine was the Igel, and even now with Kunal, once Vincent starts performing, that's where the squad feels comfortable, and he has been the man with that delivery. With this sniper's action, it does say he's a rifler, but that's what we've been talking about, that roles don't completely define of what the player will be doing, especially their inner offset of how they play the game of Free Fire Max. And now with the Morse being used, and this has become a lot more, I think, normalized with snipers that they've played. He found his eliminations, 4,000 damage coming in play from his end. With that, he had Moko and Maro. Something that we've seen off late, right, fall out of trend or meta is the Suzy pick. But Vincent, he keeps it still active.
Yep, he needs that money. I mean, to be fair, Revenant XSpark do rely on respawns quite a bit, so that extra cash definitely can help them out. A124 being used by Kunal. nice to see that his comfort characters have not left him. He used to use the A124 while he was still playing in Orderbots, but I thought that was just a team composition thing. But clearly, it's not just a team composition thing. It's something that he brings to the table on purpose. So I would like to see what else he can do for his team. So Han and Arsh, like the two players who stayed back, they also have done really well for themselves. 3,639 damage for Sohan. It's super cool. With that, he got 8 eliminations. Vincent has even more damage, 4,500. Somehow lacking in eliminations, but I'm guessing it's because he was just keeping the teams away from his players and just building that distance. Ronaldo, 7 assists. That is ridiculous. With 9 knockouts. Kunal has 9 knockouts, but only 3 eliminations. A lot of those eliminations were either not converted into finishes or they were stolen away. Either way, it's very unfortunate.
Unfortunate was also the start for Revenant XSpark. They jumped down at Shrines. From there, they had a fight with Team Hind. Team Hind had a tad bit better outcome from there, and from there, Revenant XSpark just kept jumping. They moved towards Foundation, Refinery, now at last towards Mammoth. Where they got a lot more conversion is when they took down players from RNX, because they kept coming back towards Mammoth and they took them every bone apart and got those eliminations. That built the confidence for Revenant XSpark, and once they were almost at that southern edge, that's how they moved, made their way towards Command Post, got a good position, and especially at the edges of Command Post, the circle coming to its conclusion, they knew the land better because that's how they traversed, and with that, this Booyah also concluded in their favor. With that, let's take a look at our 6 games. Today's standings, 6 for Group A and B have concluded for the day, 6 more to go, and topping the charts as we did expect of how they started is Flame Esports from Bangladesh. Not far back, it's even Team Hind. They've managed to close that gap to 96, and that's going to be a good moment. On top of that, we even see a team from Pakistan, that's going to be Hotshot Esports, missed their opportunities of Booyah just like Team Hind. Nebula, who even though got their Booyah, but one team that I'm not worried about that they always manage to qualify is Nebula. So their position in 4, safe and sound, not much to be worried about. Bangla Unity, Revenant XSpark and GodLike, they're very close at the edge with RNX and Straw Hats, who had a good run, decent for Straw Hats. RNX somewhere trying to be consistent, but still did not make it towards their edge of qualification at this point, because RNX at that 8th spot is not at all safe to be called.
Yeah, RNX, I think, the last team who is unsafe. Everyone above them has 80 something points. 80 plus is good enough on one day, right? I think it's a very respectable score to get on one day. But RNX have 69, and while it's only 11 points below the 80 mark, it doesn't seem like a lot, but it can be a massive deal breaker if RNX don't step up tomorrow. That being said, though, there are obviously teams who are in a much worse position than them, but there will always be somebody below you, there will always be somebody above you. You need to make sure that you need to reach at least RNX's level. And I'm not saying that because they're at the 8th spot. I'm saying that because they are at that spot, they are at the 9th spot, there is a massive gap between them and the 8th team. So it's not just the fact that you're not in the safe zone, but it's also the fact that there is a buffer between you and all the other teams. So that negative space is something they will have to be very worried about tomorrow.
Tomorrow is going to be a tough day, and looking at how South Asia Plains has started, Crips, this looks super intense. Every team has had their opportunity. Even BB.S9X Esports, we spoke about them. 5 games, the maximum number of points in any given game they got was 10. That's all. And now they end up pulling off a 20-point game for themselves. That tells us that this is really good for them. But this is the Fire Max Asia Invitational 2026 Summer Day 1. Group A and B started off intense. What happens tomorrow will be under question, but it'll unveil tomorrow. Make sure you join us at the same time. See you. Take care. Bye-bye.